Hello and welcome to the fifth part of my Shadowrun Hong Kong Extended Edition blind playthrough. In the last episode we went to part of Kowloon City named Walled City, and our goal was to contact Strangler Bao and give him a message from Kindly Cheng, which we succeeded, and we were able to do that without hurting any person around. Today we will go back to Heoi and we will try to move our quests forward and find out what happened with our foster father. Hopefully we can find more clues today. Let's go. Heoi, it's hard to shake off the walled city. Its gravity clings due to you, as if wretchedness itself had grown tentacles. The sounds of suffering subside, but their echo still through your insides. Gobbet walks slowly, head down and both hands on her stomach, whispering a conversation to someone or something that only she can see. Her words are silent and remain hidden in her clothing. Who pauses a moment and breathes a sigh of relief when you finally reach the streets. But returning to her isn't like coming home. Suspicious look and closed mouth and unsmiling faces that billboard a universal message: you don't belong here. Time to report back to Kindly Cheng and inform her that the message has been delivered. Get this business over with. Get your sin burned. Get on to the next step, whatever that is. You leave the City of Darkness behind, head to the Mahjong Parlor, and die with the Crime Lord. Six karma, and return to the Kindly Cheng. Let's inspect it. A large X fashioned from overlapping strips of peeling duct tape. Like I said, members only. Show off. Nothing new around. Spider Shen. The monk proprietor of this stall regards you coldly as you approach. Before you can even utter a word, you're interrupted. Nothing for sale here, not for you. You want to buy something, you'll get Kindly Cheng to vouch for you first. Until then, screw off. Okay. This tall Yankee Hong Konger regards you with a sticky smile. He holds a smoking cigarillo, limpy in his fingers, and he's surrounded by drones, smooth just placed on tiny speakers. Hi, I'm Mamu. He lazily waves you off with his cigarillo. No deal store for outsiders. Move it along. Beautiful. Move it along. He turns away. Okay, so this looks like a drone seller. That was like a samurai. Oh, what's this? Doc Vegan got gold trauma kit. Let's take it. And into the stash. I must have missed it last time when I was here. Maximum low. Means of electronics crowd every dry patch of deck space on this rusty old boat. A young man wearing bulk virtual reality goggles glances at your way for a moment, then he turns away in disdain. Who are you? He doesn't even look at you. Shop's closed. Get lost. One more time for intercom. You again, I told you to fuck off. Forget, I'm going. And let's check the MRT station for a second. Board train. The MTR doors open as you approach. Stay here. So, that might be our next mission. Okay. Mahjong parlor. Objective complete. Return to Kindly Cheng. Kindly Cheng watches you closely as you walk across the Mahjong parlor. As you approach, her lieutenant leans in, brings her mouse close to the Triadbot's ear. Cheng smiles and nods, her eyes never leaving you. There's a twinkle in the straw sandal's eye. I heard from Bao. He got my message very clearly, and I understand that there were no casualties created during your little delivery run. I am pleased and surprised. Gobat did a great job of guiding us. Evergreen, did she? Good to know. 715 yuan. My message was delivered and Stranglebell is back in the fold, earning for me. As far as I'm concerned, our transaction is complete. While you were gone, I set the wheels in motion to wipe your identities. She pulls out her PDA, taps a button with a lacquered fingernail. The order has been set. Congratulations, you are now sinless. Shadow people. Wu exhales heavily. His eyes remain focused straight ahead, but his shoulders sag. We'll figure a way out of this, Duncan. Wu pulls himself up to his full height. There's only one way out of this, FH, and that's through it. Whoever gave the kill order on Carter also forced us to give up our identities and took Raymond. Wu sets his jaw firm. That's all I can think about. Finding who did this. Finding Ray. Kindly Cheng holds up a hand. While I was working to get your sins burnt, I also had my network look into Raymond's black disappearance. I've been thinking about what you told me earlier, and I agree. She eyes the room carefully and leans in. I can't just let this lie. Someone killed my runners, and would be a sign of weakness to the Yellow Lotus and the others if I do nothing. She rests her PDA on the mahjong table, facing you. The triad boss tongue slips from her mouth as she looks over the top, hunting for the right button on its upside-down interface. She finds it and looks up at you again. I have news to share with you, my darling. The kind you won't like. Raymond Black is dead. She taps the button and a recorded newscast appears on the screen. Raymond's photographs appears on the screen behind a reporter standing on docks in Victoria Harbour. It's a picture you've seen before, a professional portrait taken for a press release about a youth centre he was opening in the Redmond Barrens. Under Raymond's photo are the words "Settlement killed." Another shooting involving the police department, a Seattle community organizer and industrial engineer was apparently shot and killed while resisting arrest at Victoria Harbour last night. HKPF police report that the UCAS man, Raymond Black, was behaving erratically and would not respond to police orders to surrender. No additional information regarding Black or why he was traveling to Hong Kong are available. Police have stated that due to this shooting's proximity to the last night's shootout with the White Star, the investigation must remain confidential and no other details are being revealed at this time. Kindly Cheng taps the button again and the video closes. Wu puts his hands to his face. This just keeps getting worse. It definitely isn't getting any better. Raymond's dead. Wu puts his hand over his mouth, trying to process the information. His face, for a moment, it looks like as if he's going to pass out. Isabel reaches out to touch Wu, thinks better of it, and pulls back her hand. Sorry for your loss. I never had a father, so I don't know what it's like to lose one, but sorry. Son of a bitch, Raymond's dead. Raymond dies the same night we're ambushed. That's no coincidence. No fucking way. Kindly taps the video closed. She hands around the keypad and selects another button. I'm afraid that's not at all, my darlings. This is security footage from Victoria Harbour from last night. You'll find it contains a contradiction. The PDAs show silent, grainy video footage of Raymond sitting in a tea shop flanked by two guards. He's looking down at something in his hand, completely distracted. The footage continues and the camera displays several black-clad figures entering its field of view from different angles. Guns ready, a tall, sharply dressed man in a suit walks briskly towards Raymond, flanked by two more. Raymond stands to face him and the camera gets a clear view of the suit's face. White plastic. His guards turn to draw weapons and muzzle flashes erupt from all sides. One of Raymond's guards goes down and his submachine gun fires wildly, hitting the camera. Wu puts his hands on the table and leans it. Those weren't cops, and Raymond wasn't resisting arrest. What with that guy's face? With reaches up to stroke the red perched on her shoulder. Is that a mask? It doesn't look like a mask. It looks like some sort of semi-rigid plastic implant. Real craftsmanship. She pushes out her lower lip in appreciation. Quite the fashion accessory. It's also the kind of fashion accessory that stands out in a crowd. This guy's either a fool or an arrogant son of a bitch. He sets his jaw firm. Either way, I'm gonna find him. Kindly Cheng watches Wu intently. I believe you. Wu stands back and turns to you. What now? We find out who this plastic-faced man is, then we get some answers. With what resources? Cheng's eyes sparkle. I'm afraid there are some facts you are going to have to face. She puts on a grey face. You are alone in this country. No network, no money, no identity. I can protect you from the police, but how would you go about discovering what happened to Raymond without me? How would you survive? This is a topic that requires serious consideration. Kindly wipes her hand across a stack of titles, spreading the ivory-colored pieces across the table. You had a very long night, my sweets. Very long. And frankly, you all look like shit. Rest now. I promise you safety in my tone for the ride. We'll talk about the plastic-faced man tomorrow. Kindly gestures to Goblet and Isabel. Ladies, go find our new friends a place to bed down in that rat's nest quad boat you call home. We'll all talk after you've slept. Figure out our next steps together. Yes, Auntie. Yes, Auntie. A rat's nest squad boat? We call it the Bolt Hole. It's the abandoned trawler we call home. Isabel tries a smile. It's homey. Meet you there. Let's go, FH. I'm bait to hell. Objective edit. Get some sleep. No time for runners now. I have other business to attend to. You two can bunk here for a while. She nods with her nose towards a hatch. You each got a hat to care of your necessaries. Try to knock before you enter someone else, okay? Seriously. I know the drill. Turns to you. Stinks of fish, just like that place we squatted out on Leary Avenue back when we were kids. The one with that Adslan family and their dog. You hated the dog. He kept digging out my food stash. No matter where I hid it, he'd find it and scarf down a week's worth of grub. He wipes his nose with a gloved hand. Still, it was sad that what happened to him. And the family? No one should go out that way. He stretches and his spine pops up like a handful of firecrackers. I think I've been up for something like 36 hours straight. He drops his arms, and this has been one shitstain of a day. Time to end it. The orc turns to you, raises an eyebrow. Anything you need before I leave you to it? Is it just you and Isabel living here? Yeah. Gobet's mouth screws up a bit. Now that Niger and Gutshot are gone, it's just us. The squeal of metal grinding on metal rips through the boat. It sounds like it's coming from the level below. And that creepy Russian guy renting the engine room downstairs. Nothing to worry about. He mostly keeps to himself. She checks her PDA. He'll stop soon. He's usually quiet by now. Is there a place for my stuff? Yeah, check the locker over there. You can stash your stuff in it. No one will touch your things in there, and it's a lot bigger than it looks. How do you get your hands on this place? How do people like us get our hands on anything? We found it. You found it empty? He sweeps his eyes across the cabin. The doubt is plain on his face. Somebody abandoned a prime of real estate like this? She shrugs. Close enough. It was full of BTL junkies when we came across it. They were completely wicked out on some multiplayer cyber game. I am not sure they ever chipped out of it. They were completely emaciated, stewing in piles of their own shit. Their eyes had sunk into their skulls. Pretty gruesome stuff. They racked up a killer score, though. True, they had the moves. Should have hung an IV while they were playing, though. Turns out nutrition is important. So, what happened? Did they die? She shrugs. Niger ran him out. Not sure what happened to them after that. Anyway, it's ours now. Auntie Cheng says so. All but the engine room, you mean? Right, everything but that. Auntie rented it out from under us. That must have pissed you off. She shrugs. Whatever, we weren't using it. As long as our downstairs neighbor keeps to himself, he can have the lower level, especially if it keeps Auntie Cheng happy. I think I'll have a look around. Okay, but get some sleep soon. You look like you could use it. We'll go see kindly in the morning. Figure out our next move. So here is the stash. Hey FH, I got something I gotta take care of here. Let's talk later. Sure. Come back later, Momo. I'm busy. Hey, Seattle. I'm not really in the mood to hang out right now. Heavy stuff going down, you know? Yeah, it will be fine, but for the time being, I'd rather be alone. We'll talk later, though. Okay, is it possible to meet the Russian? The original name has been sloppily painted over with black paint. Newer, but somewhat weathered characters have been painted in bold brushstrokes and read Bolt Hole. Well, looks like I can't get to the Russian guy yet. So let's take a nap. The cot in your cabin is neatly made with crisp-looking sheets and an insulated plastic blanket. A fine layer of dust coats its surface. It's been a long time since anybody slept here. Go to sleep. You climb into the cot and worm your way under the sheets. They've been starched, stiff as boards, but you've slept beneath warmth. The lice and bedbugs that plucked your own. Your old prison cells are mercifully absent here, and the salt air is fresher than the rancid stink of the Redmond Barrens. The moment your head hits the pillow, exhaustion sets in. You can barely keep your eyes open. Sleep washes over you like a warmth bath, and everything goes black. Objective complete, get some sleep. The dream is suffocating, the shifting tunnel of glass and steel, the towering silhouettes of dark majesty, the shadowy doorway, and the teeth. They snap at your heels as you claw your way back to consciousness. You open your eyes to Duncan looming over you. He shakes your shoulder roughly. FH. Come on, FH, wake up. We've got to talk to kindly. The others have already left. That was one rough night. Here, let's go off your shoulder. Cox, thump at the hatch. We gotta go. I've been trying to wake you for a while now. You were thrashing around in your sleep. Thrashing around? Yeah, you were clawing at the air. Clawing, huh? Did I say anything? Nah, you just mumbled a bit. Nothing I could make out. He skulls. I didn't sleep well either. Bad dream. What about? He shrugs. I never remember my dreams all that well. It was probably motion sickness. Not used to sleeping on a boat. I woke up a little while ago and hit the head. Then I came back and woke you. You doing okay? I'll survive. His fingers hit a knot. He winces. But man, nothing gone right since we stepped foot in this country. I'll tell you something true. I tell you something though, and this is after a full night's sleep. I don't believe Ray's dead. What makes you say that? Think about it. That statement from the cops on the newscast could be fake. Ours was, and that surveillance footage? We never saw Raymond get shot. The camera was hit by stray gunfire. His passion is intense, but contained, focused. Raymond's alive, FH, I know it. You make a good case, Officer Wu. He smiles, his teeth are white and straight and perfect. Should have been a detective instead of headbuster, right? His smile fades. Good, I feel like I'm 12 years old again, squatting on a stinking trawler. My partner's gone, Raymond's gone, hell, I'm gone, I don't even have a name anymore. And no, I can't even go to sleep and hide from it all without having a nightmare. His jaw tightens and his teeth grind so loud that you can hear it. What else is gonna be taken away from me? You still have that piercing you got in Tacoma? I had to drop that. Hygiene issues. Who struggles to smell, he fails. What the hell did we fall into here, FH? I mean, what's coming next? Isn't it obvious? Look around. We're sinless, living in the shadows, dealing with criminals. Wu is silent for a moment. All you get is a blank expression. You're thinking of becoming a Shadowrunner. He says it without judgment, just a statement of fact. What do you think that jammed into the walled city was? He crosses his arms, considering. It was a test. The triad woman was testing us. Shadowrunners. Oh man, I have to think about this. She shakes his head slowly. Let's out ground. This isn't the way it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be a cop. And I want a pony. But we play the cards we're dealt. He drops his hands to his hips and takes a couple of deep breaths. That's right. That's right. It's like Ray always said. When the winds of change blow, some people build walls, others build windmills. He chuckles finally. Raymond never said that, and was our housekeeper, Mrs. Maloney. She had it tattooed on her back, right? How do you see it? Don't mess with me, man. You know I got anger management issues. He checks his watch. Gubbet and Isabel left a while ago. We should get going too. See what that triad lady has to say. Meet with kindly Cheng. Still no way how to get to the Russian guy. Meet with kindly Cheng. Objective complete. Kindly's place reeks of stale cigar smoke and fresh urine. The clicking of mahjong tiles is strangely absent. In its place is a low murmur of laughter and an air of eager anticipation. All eyes are focused on the groaning figure kneeling bloody and bound at the feet of kindly Cheng. She beckons to him with her finger, and he struggles towards her. The loud rustling of the plastic tarp crackling under his knees as he moves. His pants are wet with fear. An acetylene torch lies on the table at Cheng's right hand. Kindly Cheng ignores the scene. She behaves as if all is right in the world. How did you sleep, my little ones? Fine, thanks. What's with the guy on the floor? She indicates the kneeling man with an incline of her nose. Shitbird here is a plain-clothes cop. He snuck into the area last night while you were sleeping, hoping to find you and kill you before his competition got to you first. My men found him outside the trawler you were sleeping on. They saw to it that your rest was undisturbed and that your location remained a mystery. She nods her head back towards the pillar of meat standing behind her. You can thank Mr. Bao for that. Not at Strangle Bow. Bow inclines his head 1/4 of an inch. She addresses the bloody man on his knees. Now, Shadowrun, tell my friends here what you told me. Uh, I don't know anything, I swear. We just got the orders in last night. He pushes his head towards you and woo from the floor, struggling to keep his balance. Somebody high up wants these two dead. The whole department is on it. I don't know anything else. Someone from high up? The old woman lifts her foot, taps his chin with the toe of her shoe. How high? The cop looks up at her. The cop looks up at her, looks around at the room filled with riot soldiers. One of them opens his coat and shows the cop something inside. He closes it and slowly winks. The cop drops his head to his chest, all the way up. It's someone on the council. Someone on the executive council wants these two dead? Chang spits on him with a sneer. Fuck your ancestors to the 18th generation. Give me the truth. The cop wears the spittle. He never lifts his head. It's the truth, madam. I swear it. Whoever and was labeled them as terrorists, we are to terminate with extreme prejudice. Kindly Cheng shuffles closer to the kneeling cop, reaches down and strokes his head with her hand. Then she slowly digs her fingers into scalp. She pulls back hard until his chin points high. The triad boss leans in close and searches his eyes with her own. That's all he's got. She lets go of his head and smooths his puzzled cut hair with her hand. For whatever reason, last night someone on the Executive Council of the Free Enterprise Zone offered the Hong Kong Police Force to kill two nobodies from Seattle. I find it fascinating, don't you? Yes, but why they need to label us international terrorists? She strokes the policeman's cheek with the back of her hand. Her rusty voice becomes sweet as she explains the way of the world. Propriety, my darling. When the government has someone gunned down, they prefer to make it appear justified. The people feel safer when their murders feel like part of civilization. My, but you have definitely fallen into the deep end of the pool. Seattle isn't like Hong Kong. There, the megacorps control the government. Here, the corps are the government. The Exec Council is chosen by the Corporate Board of Governors. They are basically the legislative and executive branches of the Hong Kong government in one tiny package. 8 people call all the shots, neat and efficient. Kindly Check stamps back from the cop and lights one of her thick black cigars. For the wage slaves and the civilian sheep, the corporations are a pantheon of gods who wield absolute power. She looks around the room, but not for us. The triad woman takes a long pull from her cigar and taps her ash on the kneeling cop's head. Who else knows about my guest visit to Heoi, Shitbird? No one, madam. I hadn't called it in yet. I wanted the kill for myself. No one knows they're here, I swear it. She turns to her enforcer. Mr. Bao? Bao fiddles with the PDA in his meaty hands. He is telling the truth. No ongoing calls on his PDA. Very good. Thank you, Bao. She nods at the cop. Thank you for your honesty. In one smooth motion, Strangler Bao produces a silenced pistol, fires it once into the policeman's head and replaces it in his jacket. His face never changes expression. I was wondering what we were going to do with him. Cheng takes a drag on her cigar, indicates the body. He knew, my darling, he knew. She balances her cigar on her shot glass, picks up some mahjong tiles and begins playing with them absently. It is clear our friend Raymond Black was up to something involving the whole city, something having to do with prosperity. And this executive council member wanted Raymond dead for it. She stacks her tiles one by one. Click, clack. No, they want you dead for it too. Click. This plastic-faced man may show up on your door one day too. She knocks the pile over, and it clatters to the table loudly. I have a proposal for you, my sweets. A smile lights up her dead black eyes. Work for me. With Niger and Gunshot dead, I find myself with 2 job openings. Fill them. I have need of deniable assets here. Players are affiliated with the triads who can take care of some of the more unsavory business needs about town. You've proven yourself resourceful, and you have no existing connections here. That can be a positive in this line of work. Shadowrunners, huh? What a surprise. Yeah, you call it FH. In exchange, I will keep you safe from pests like this one. She nods at the body of the floor. The pool of blood on the plastic wrap continues to widen. You'll have safe harbor here in my town and a steady source of income. She picks up a handful of tiles again, and while you dip your toe into the waters of corporate espionage, organized crime and clandestine mercenary actions, I will employ my network to find a plastic-faced man and gather information about Raymond Black. Where he's been, was he talked to, who stood to gain from his death, what this prosperity could be. You're putting out a lot of effort to help a pair of foreigners. Not foreigners, my sweet. Valued business associates. I need to learn who killed one of my clients and then order the cops to execute my team of Shadowrunners. Her voice drops and she becomes deadly serious. This is a brazen disregard of my power. Base dictates it must be confronted, or I stand to lose everything. We're Westerners, isn't that a liability in this business? Oh no, on the contrary. There's a good market for out-of-town talent that's just waiting to be exploited. Plus, you're unknown. A surprise, if you will. I find the right jobs for people with your talents. You do what our clients cannot do for themselves. I take a finder's fee and a small percentage of your earnings. You make a lot of new and very quickly. It's all very civilized. She leans in. Work with me. Allow me to help you make money, let my network work for you, and help you find out what you've gotten yourself into. Without my help, you won't last a day out here. You are completely out of your depth, I'm afraid. You need a partner, kindly Cheng will be your partner. Wu's hands go to his hips. He drops his head and shakes it a little, amused. It was like you said, FH. Shadowrunners. Glad I had some time to think about it. Process. He grips the back of his neck, squeezes hard, rips his hand away. Oh, fuck it. I'm not a cop anymore. That guy's dead. He nods. The decision's made. I'm in. What about you? I think Ray's still alive too. Let's run the shadows and figure out what happened to him. Raymond is alive, I'm sure of it. So I'll run the shadow as long as Auntie Cheng keeps up her end of the bargain and help us figure out what really happened to him. Then I'm gonna find my father. Then it's done. Heoi is now open to you. She gestures to her lieutenant, who raises a finger to her ear and whispers into her sleeve. First order of business memo. Here has already chosen a street name. She turns her attention to Wu, but Duncan Wu doesn't exist anymore. You'll need one too. Wu sighs. Yeah, okay. I'll think of something. Gobet runs her cheek against her rats, glint in her eye. I think we've already got you covered, gun show. She turns to Isabel. Fits, doesn't it? Indeed. I knew that was gonna stick. It has stuck. Gobet, Isabel, we'll handle this the same way we did with all your previous work. She didn't say Niger. All the job I line up for you will be sent to your computer on the squad boat. She's pointing at you. I got it. Why him? It's a simple process of elimination. She points to the little decker. Isabel isn't the leader type. You got that right. She moves her finger to the org girl. As for Gubbet, let's just say Gubbet doesn't have a head for business. No, not my thing. Then she rests her finger on Wu, and then there's Gunshow. She wiggles it. The jury's out on Mr. Gunshow. Meaning? Her response is direct, straightforward. Meaning there's a lot of going on within that head of yours right now, and I'm not sure I can trust you. Gunshow will be fine, trust me. Kindly Cheng makes eye contact with you and holds it. She keeps it steady for a long time. Who doesn't notice? Don't worry, I'll be cool, FH. FH Mamulian doesn't exist anymore, call me Mamu. Who shakes his head, eyebrows raised. Gonna be weird calling you Mamu again. Haven't called you that since we were kids. Gobet looks from Isabel to Wu to you. I guess this is our new crew. The rat on her shoulder scurries to top of her head for a better view. Welcome to the Shadows, Mamu. Activate the mission computer. Kindly regards you coldly and lifts one hand in a dismissive way. As much as I love your company, I have business to attend to. Clear the hell out of here and go get settled in. I see. How? Option to level up. Let's go to Waterfront. Crew advancement available. As you lead your team through the shadows, your companions will continue to develop and learn new combat skills. Clicking the icon in the lower right hand corner of the screen will open the crew advancement menu. When this icon is highlighted, one or more of your companion is eligible to learn a new combat skill. At each advancement level, you may choose one of two possible combat skills for each of your runners. Choose wisely. Okay, let's see. Let's use the crowd control. Let's get mini launcher. Spiritualist. Are you sure that you want to confirm these selections? This action cannot be undone. Confirm. Okay, let's see the shops. Smooth just drifts from cheap speakers on this barge. Wide array of worn-down drones litter the better decked. Most are utility and domestic types, but a few cordoned off from the others are low-end security models. The salesman smiles indulgently at you, a tall, lank Yankee human of clear Cantonese ancestry. He is wearing a cheap suit and limply clutching a smelly cigarillo. He adjusts his tie with exaggerated nonchalance. Languid, ostentatious, like an American casino promoter. Hey there, beautiful. Welcome to our little floating heaven. You've got a discerning look to you. What brings you to Reliable Matthew's Robot Bazaar? He taps his edge over a bulky cleaning drone beside him. Not waiting for an answer, he continues. Perhaps you're looking for a hexacopter as a guide to Hong Kong, or a little handheld tarantular beauty to brew your tea. Are you calling me beautiful? You know it, beautiful. I hope I don't offend. I just can't help it, to me everybody's beautiful, baby. Knock that off. Sorry, I just can't help myself. It's who I am. You're a reliable Matthew. That's right, reliable Matthew Shun and your service. He extends his hands to shake. The odors of peach-scented moisturizer and stale tobacco smoke wash over you. About it. Pleasure to meet you, reliable Matthew. Always, always. Welcome to our little patch of peace on the river. I think you really love the Heoi. It's just a fantastic place. Well, now that we're acquainted, maybe I can brighten up your day a bit. What's on your robot list, friend? I'm interested in your combat models. Reliable Matthew looks over his shoulder at the security rooms, some heavily cannibalized, in the corner of the yard. He turns back to you with a nervous smile. Funny, you should ask. I just got a Doberman that I'm selling at an incredible bargain price. Shall we take a look? Incredible bargains, huh? They fall off the back of the truck? Are you implying that they're stolen? If so, you're mistaken. He smiles indulgently, as if you just said something in an alien language. This merchandise is provided only by trusted suppliers who certify the authenticity and workability of their goods. I don't furnish manufacturer's certificates, but all the providers are really top shelf guys, really beautiful people. Otherwise, I wouldn't carry their drones. Do these suppliers certify the untraceability of their goods? Absolutely. He probably taps the S Technology logo emblazoned on a housework model beside him. The majority of them are genuine knockoffs. Any IDs are stripped, but most were never registered in the first place. Can I be a supplier if I have a spare drone? Well, it's a very exclusive process. You need to be a member of the community in good standing, have good references, and pass a background check. He smiles widely. His eye seems to twitch over you nervously. Or, if all you have is the drone, I can work with you. Where do these trusted suppliers get them? Where do false prawns and soy chips come from? Or losses loaded textiles? Or the electricity for the lights? Reliable Matthew sweeps his arm expensively at the heavens, trailing a stream of blue cigarillo. Smoke. Where do we get this glorious bluebird sky? Matthew takes a big breath, staring rapturously at the grey clouds. He looks down back at you. His expression goes flat. He shrugs limply and speaks in monotone for a moment. They're smugglers and fences. I don't know where they get their drones. Let me see what models you have. Pretty expensive. Armor 3. Great. Goodbye, Matthew. As you approach the small landing, you see 3 men, 2 elders, and a younger man hunched over a go-board. The juxtaposition of the 2 white-haired, white-bearded men and the black-haired man is almost comical. Together, the 3 resemble the small black and white stones of their game. Despite the variety of ambient distraction, the 3 men remain acutely focused on the game. One of the elders, a round-faced man with a beatific smile, carefully picks up a black stone and places it on the board. His opponent snorts and a small smile flashes across his long face. Almost carelessly, he snatches a white stone and deposits it on the board. The smiling man groans, and the long-faced one proceeds to collect several black pieces off the board. Ah, you got me there, Jin. He lost a pleasant, full sound. As he trails off, he spots you watching the game. A broad smile brightens his cheeks. Why, hello there, young man. Something you need? The long-faced man gives you a cursory look and continues to collect black stones. Just a go-car, Shio. It's your turn. The name's Memo. Got a second to answer questions or two? Shio nods. I could use a shoulder break. How about you, Jin? Jin sighs, shoulders slumping forwards. After a moment of scowling, he reluctantly speaks. Fine, a short break. The 2 elders turn toward the younger man. He looks to be in his early 30s, but it's difficult to tell. The skin on his face is smooth and supple, with only the suggestions of creases at the eye, mouth and forehead, but small gestures blink a flare of His nostrils briefly reveal the lines of his face. The man's eyes rise from the go board and study the elders. He nods. I've been hearing about strange dreams here in Heoi. Have you had any nightmares recently? You. The three men exchange looks. She turns to you. What a coincidence. Wasn't but an hour ago that we were all discussing that very thing. We have been having bad dreams, every one of us. I've had them myself. We should compare notes. What did you dream about? Is that right? Jin leans in and stares at you. Can't say that I'm comfortable with giving a strange details about my dreams. Shu waves his hand dismissively at Jin. Don't mind him. He's always been a poor sport. But he raises a good point. Some of our dreams contain information best left private. Just as yours do, I'm sure. Having just met, how can we be sure that you'll respect our personal information? I'll tell you. The younger man's voice cuts through the din like a razor, and the elders fall silent. He turns to you, and he locks his eyes, dark orbs that burn without piercing scrutiny onto yours. He nods and returns his gaze to the go board. I believe you trustworthy. Please, Memu, make yourself comfortable. I'll share my dream with you. I'll appreciate it. Go ahead. He exhales slowly, then begins speaking. I dreamed of a long, dingy hall. When faced with such thing, one generally walks his length, so I lifted my right foot and placed it in front of me. But upon taking that first step, I found myself instead down the alleyway to my left. It wasn't there before, this alley. It appeared only as I began to walk. As I moved down the alley, I found myself surrounded by friends and loved ones. They all stood there, silently, watching me with smiles on their faces, and as I passed each one of them, they fell to the ground in my wake, dropping like puppets with severed strings. Somehow, I knew that if I followed this road to the end, I could have everything I'd ever dreamed of, but I woke before I could reach it. He folds his hand in his lap. There's a moment of silence before Shu speaks. Up, the rosiness in his cheeks having drained away. I too saw the long hall. My own experience was different, however. The hall was far off in the distance, and I was looking down on it from a strange angle, as though I were perched on a wall high above. He pauses and looks at you. You know, young man Memu. You looks very much like the person I saw walking that hall. He moved steadily down the path, walking at an even pace, and just behind him, a great and terrible shadow followed. Of course, I didn't have the best view up there on that wall, or wherever I was. It could have been anyone. Perhaps this old mind of mine is seeing your face now, and misremembering that dream. He lets out a chuckle, and a small flush of red returns to his cheek. He looks over at Jin. Alright, Jin, go ahead. Jin broods in his corner, arms crossed and jaw set. I have changed my mind. I don't want to share my dream. Nonsense. Master Law and I have both told him our dreams, and now it's your turn. Jin sticks out his lower lip. No. It's fine. You don't have to tell me if you don't want to. He holds his palm up towards you and looks at you. See? Straight from the horse's mouth. I don't have to. Jin. Lau's voice is firm but soft. This is important. Jin's mouth opens and closes like a gasping fish, but as he looks at Lau, his body relaxes and the sadness seems to take hold of his features. Alright, but don't you go repeating any of this, you hear me? He takes in a deep breath and slowly releases it, folds his hands in his lap. My dream began as a nightmare. I dreamed of the failures and mistakes that I've made throughout my life. The people I've let down, the competitors I've crushed, the wife who died in a hospice without me. I dreamed of the family that I abandoned. A change comes over him, his eyes brighten, and he continues energetically. But then I dreamed of the walled city. I stood before it, and its door opened to me, and when I passed inside, all of my guilt felt away. It was true, the city had absolved me, had washed away my guilt, and I remember feeling happy. As his remembrance ends, so does his lightning mood. His face shrinks into a pout, and he stares grumpily at the ground. There, I did it. You happy? Low, not slowly. Thank you, Jim. Do you have my thanks too? Yeah. Now, can we change the subject? My ulcer's acting up. I'm guessing you've been around these parts longer than I have. Is this sort of thing normal? If it were normal, we wouldn't be huddled around discussing them in whispers now, would we? Enough of that, Jin. Amu here asks in earnest for our advice. He deserves a proper response. Shiu gives you a gentle smile. Please, forgive our friend. Bitter years have we left him suspicious of others. The answer to your questions is no. Upsetting. Dreams have never been uncommon in Heoi, but these recent visitations have been different. They've been darker, more vivid, stronger than normal dreams. Last night, I felt consumed by the sense that something was coming, while my friends here felt a sense of relief and excitement as their dreams ended. I felt as though I were sitting on the precipice of some vast and terrible chasm, with the void yawning beneath my feet. Suddenly, his cheek flushes, he blinks twice, then looks away. But perhaps these are just the ramblings of an old man. Please forgive me. He scratches his nose, embarrassed. You speak wisely, Shiu. It is foolish to embrace a thing that you do not understand. What Jin and I saw in our dreams was alluring, but so is the light to a moth. Your instincts are still strong and sharp, my old friend. It is wise of you to trust them. She bows deeply, his eyes to the ground. Thank you. I can only hope dreams do lead to something beautiful. There's already enough deception in this world. Jin groans lonely. Can we get back to the game now? I don't want to keep you. Of course, stop by again sometime soon, Mamu. Your company has been refreshing. Thanks. Good luck with your game. Appreciated, young man. We'll be seeing you. Let's talk one more time. Why, if this isn't the young one from before? Jin glances up at you, then returns to the game. Ah, can't you see we're busy? Shoot shakes his head at his friend. You never mind him. Is there something else you need? Thanks. Good luck with your game. Appreciated, young man. We'll be seeing you. Parlor of 5 phases. What's that? A shaman shop? Crafting shoe? Shoe? A mild scent, sweet and slightly herbal is the first thing you notice upon entering the old shop. Its quarters are cramped, made smaller by the display cases and furniture packed inside. The walls are lined with bookshelves, and the tables and chairs are stacked with old tomes. A few titles jump out at you. Lucid Dreaming, an exploration of the inner self. Dream Logic, Nocturnal Visitations. Overall, the place feels lived in, if disorganized, not quite cluttered, but close. Milling at the front of the store is the shopkeeper, lost in a book of her own. She is tall for a human, probably close to 2 meters in height. Her physique is typical bookworm. Not overweight, but you can't see any muscular definition either. A wrap-around tattoo covers her upper arms and shoulders, but from where you're standing, you can't quite make it out. She fidgets gradually, her eyes rise from her book and look onto you. Welcome. Don't believe I've seen you before. She sets down her book and sweeps a strand of black and pink hair behind her ear. Name's Crafty. Mamu, nice to meet you. She shakes your head. Her grip is surprisingly firm. So, Mamu, what can I do for you? I got spells, alchemical reagents, foci, whatever you want, really. Might have to do some digging to find it, but if it's magical, it's around here somewhere. Is this your store, or do you just work here? It's mine. I inherited it from my mom. As you can see, she generously left me all her research journals. Her words are thick with sarcasm. Mom was never a big cleaner, but neither I am. My mom used to keep spirits around that helped her manage the place. They're not here anymore, but sometimes I swear my books aren't where I last placed them. Who knows, maybe they pop by for visits. I just wish they'd clean while they're here. What's with the name of the store? It's a cultural thing. The 5 phases represent wood, earth, water, fire and metal. Some people believe that they're basis of how things function and interact in this world. You'll find it practiced all throughout China, and disciplines ranging from farming to science, even music. The theory isn't common among younger generations, but it has its uses. My mother was strongly influenced by it. In fact, our science out front is a visual representation of the cycle of 5 phases. It was an inspiration to her. She raises a shoulder in a half shrug. I just thinks that it looks neat. What makes this store so special? It's old, respectable, built over a dragon line. She slightly tilts her head to the side. We also carry text unavailable anywhere else, but I guess for me, I'm drawn to this place by the nostalgia. You don't sound thrilled. It's a job, can't complain. I have a question about something else. Say, Crafty, have you had any vivid dreams lately? Her face is unreadable. Her eyes look onto yours. As a matter of fact, I have a memo. But we all get the occasional vivid dreams. Nothing special there. Gesture to the books on the table. Really? Then why are you reading up on them? She flicks her wrist dismissively. Sure, it's a little weird that we're having them, but these types of dreams are common in the walled city. Nothing to get all worked up about, probably. Strange. I met someone the other day who said that too. She nods. Anyone who's familiar with the walled city would know that, but most people don't go out of their way to find out. My mother devoted her life to research the walled city and the magical phenomena within it, so I grew up with stories about the city, the recurrent creepy dreams being one of them. They're common then? She nods. Come on, ask the cult. My mother devoted her life to research the walled city and the magical phenomena within it, so I grew up with stories about the city. The recurrent creepy dreams were being one of them. I've never been inside the walled city myself, but Mom went in pretty regularly and experienced the dreams. Where's your mother now? Dead, she shrugs. Mom's was interesting, but not praiseworthy. What else do you know about the walled city? Very little, just that my mother spent most of her time in there, and she shifts her weight, leans onto the counter. Well, it messed her up. Is there something specific you want to know about? I'm thinking of moving to the walled city. Any advice? Are you trying to be funny? Her expression remains indifferent, but the coolness of her tone reveals her disapproval. If you want to make ignorant joke about tragedies like the walled city, take it outside my shop. Sorry, that was in bad taste. Let's change the subject. Yeah, let's do that. I get the feeling that your relationship with your mother was unusual. You'd better believe it. She was obsessed with the walled city. Put it before everyone in her life. Mom ate, slept, and breathed that city. It couldn't have been that bad. Crafty shifts her gaze to a stack of books on a nearby table. I lost my mother to her obsession, and would have been easier to have an absent parent, I think. She'd often stay at home when she wasn't in the city, but her thoughts were always with her work. One was convinced that something was wrong with the place, that it was cursed in some way, polluted with unnaturally bad key. She'd visit the city under the protection of the Yellow Lotus and spend hours, sometimes days, studying it. Crafty tears her eyes away from the book and returns her gaze to you. Mother was consumed by her research. Did she ever find anything? She sure tried. Mom thought she could find a way to purify the place and to exorcise its demons. Her obsession with Walled City grew, and she devoted more and more of her life to breaking its curse. Wish I could say she fell off the radar, but really, the rest of the world fell off of hers. Hey, look on the bright side. At least you had a mother. I can't even remember mine. She looks stricken. Are you for real? Shit, Memo. Yeah, it was difficult, but I obviously came out fine. Well, fine-ish. I still argue that not having a mother is better than having a worthless mother, but these things affect us all differently. Maybe I am lucky. I had one growing up. Either way, I'm sorry you didn't. Don't worry about it. I guess we shared something in that respect. A lack of active mothers in our lives. She nods grimly. What a bleak way to bond. Why don't we change the subject before this turns into soap opera moment? It sounds to me like you don't believe in your mother's research. You can see Crafty studying you. She exhales through her nose, and it seems as if she's considering something. I know we've just met, Memu, but you have a generous ear. I don't mind discussing my mother with you as long as we keep the details between us. Mother's research was stupid, just plain stupid. She wasn't stupid herself, no, but was very bright. But her obsession was downright unhealthy. Anyone could see that. The world city is a toxic place, home to the dark spirits and astral influence, but Mom believed in a singular curse at the heart of the place. When you say toxic, what do you mean? My mother failed to change the walled city, and the time she spent inside there changed her. She grew stickly and became moody, irritable. She suffered from night terrors the rest of her life. Crafty languidly sweeps a small clump of dust off nearby book. It must have been difficult to watch her decline like that. She points a finger at you. It wasn't just that. The breaking point for me was her ridiculous obsession. I refused to indulge her, and it drew a wedge between us. Neither of us were willing to relent. A small, bitter laugh escapes her throat. I guess we had that in common, stubborn till the end. So, after Mom died, I turned my back on her work and left the walled city and its people to themselves. It's a toxic side beyond the rehabilitation. I do my best to ignore it. The composure breaks for a second, and you can see Crafty shift nervously behind the counter. At least I've thrived. Now that these dreams, these nightmares are leaking out of the walled city, I wonder if I can still ignore it. We always have a choice. You're right, but not everyone's choices are weighed evenly, and I just don't think I can turn a blind eye to what's happening here. She loosely gestures to the bookshelves all over the shop. I have many mothers. I have my mother's journals. I have the means to try and help. It's sure to dredge up bad memories, but if it will help my friends, maybe it will be worth it. I don't know. I guess I have a lot of to think about. She crosses her arms and wraps her fingers against her skin. Anyway, thanks for lending me that air of yours. I've been thinking about the dreams. Can I ask you something? She nods. Go ahead. Why do you think they're affecting people outside the walled city? It's definitely strange. Until now, I always thought the dreams were nonsense. My mother just had night terrors because of her madness. She props her chin up with her right hand. But now it's really happening, and not just to me, to others around Heoi. Those same psychic forces that drove Mom insane are edging into our subconscious. Lately, I've been wondering if there might be something to her ravings. Maybe. I've been skeptical for so long. It feels almost blasphemous to consider it. Maybe the whole city curses is real. She wraps her hand down her face, obviously frustrated. I just don't know. Maybe you can learn something from your mom's journals. That's true, but my mother's notes are scattered all over the shop. Most of her research is scrawled in the margins of the books that you see on the shelves, in piles and stacks all over. The clues we'd need to figure this thing out could be in any one of those volumes, and there are thousands of them. But with the dream's reach spreading, can you really afford to let all this knowledge just sit here? She sighs, straightens up. Yeah, I know that I have to do. It's just... Damn. Damn, look at them all. She tiredly looks down at the books she was reading earlier. Guess I won't be finishing this one anytime soon. Alright, Memo, I'm going to get started now, but I'll take time. The house of 5 pages is jammed from floor to ceiling with books, and any of them could hold valuable information. Check in once in a while, and I'll share my findings with you. Sure thing, keep me updated. She clocks her tongue and points a finger at you. Will do. Tell me about yourself, Crafty. She raises a shoulder and half shrug. I am not sure where to start. What do you want to know? Your mother sounds like quite a mage. Did you study magic too? I sure did. Natural predisposition. She flexes her arm. Or whatever. But Mom and I learned the craft differently. I went to a university and she was book taught. Mom was very old school. Her magic wasn't as applicable to everyday situation, and it was rooted in superstitions. It still worked and well, but only for more ritualistic ancient spells. Practical spells like rain shields and bottomless trash cans were outside of her repertoire. Is Crafty your real? Is Crafty really your first name? No. A wave of nostalgia seems to put her gaze towards the shop's front window. The name started out as a joke, actually. Back home, my mom used to call me Crafty, since the meaning is similar to my given name. I liked it because of the way it sounds. I insisted that my family call me Crafty, so it became a sort of nickname around the house. When I got my older and started school in Hong Kong, I made my mom register me as Crafty, and it stuck. So, what's your given name? Meow. She raises her hand to prevent you from replying. Yes, like a cat. You foreigners always make that same joke, which is why I grew up hating meow. Call me Crafty. What do you do when you're not at work? I've been pretty crunched here at the shop, so I don't have a lot of time outside of work. But when I'm off the clock, I like to read and paint, maybe kick back and enjoy a meal with my friends. My buddy Gobbet sometimes stops by with food. No drag racing or anything, pretty boring. I know a Gobbet, wonder if they're the same person. You know a lot of Gobbets? Her teasing resolves itself into a gentle smirk. I'm sure they're one and the same. She's a good person. We're not real close, but we have a pleasant relationship. Chatting over French fries, discussing our latest reads, shallow things. How do you know her? Just met actually. Uh, she and Isabel got me out of a tough spot. Good. Keep her by your side. Gubet's pretty fluent in the way of the city and the people who live here. She knows her stuff. If you stick with her, you'll find yourself in a lot less trouble than you would otherwise. You said you paint? Just for fun. I don't make any money off of it or anything like that. I just find it relaxing. She pets her arms. Designate my tattoos, but that's about the extent that I take it beyond the canvas. Mind if I see the tattoo? I can't quite make it out from here. Yeah, sure. She turns her back to you, and you can see the tattoo in all its glory. It looks like an impressionist rendition of a school of salmon jumping upstream. The artistry of the piece is undeniable. Tattoos aren't really my thing, still, I'm impressed that you designed it yourself. An impressed smile creeps into her feature. She scratches her shoulder. Yeah, well, thanks. It wasn't an easy decision to make, but I like how it turned out. What do you like to read? Crafty claps her hands together, and a slow smile spreads across her face. Aside from the usual, I love sitting down each morning to a tall cup of soy coffee, and with the latest new stream on hand, I pop it right open to the obituaries. Makes for great reading. She smiles at you for a moment before speaking. Kidding, well, for all you know, I tend to stray toward detective novels, maybe some suspense and horror. And when I'm not reading for leisure, I study my textbooks to keep my magic sharp. Sounds fun, but I'd like to ask you something on a more serious note. Sure, what's on your mind? Back on topic. I'd like to see your wares. weapons. Mage. Outfits. It's just armor. Spells. Let's buy at least this one. And let's confirm. Anything else? Thanks, Crafty. See you around. Hey there, you looking to be something or just feeling social? I'd like to see your wares. Anything else? I was just browsing. Thanks, Crafty. See you around. Okay, we got probably half of the harbor already. So let's find another guys whom we can speak. Let's talk to Spider Shen now. Despite the wind and rain pelting Heoi, the proprietor of this stall, among judging by their outfit, is unconcerned. The monk's expression is indifferent, though hardly placid or serene. Muscles show a styly want, metal bands beneath the skin are ready to snap in any direction without warning. What's more, the monk's robes are anything but ordinary. Certainly, silk makes up the base outfit, but it's paired with high-impact ballistic armor, heavy-duty boots, and the bandolier of throwing knives. The table in front of you is arrayed with a wide variety of melee weapons, charms, jade pendants, and other mystical accoutrements. Beneath an awning in the rear are rows upon rows of cages, each housing some variety of exotic reptile or insect. These in turn are flanked by jars and boxes of Chinese herbs, incense, powders and inks. The monk spares you only the shortest of glances as you approach. I am Monk Shen. Most people in Heoi call me Spider Shen, on account of the spiders back there. You're not local, not by a long shot. It's definitely a statement, not a question. Yeah, what about it? Shen shrugs and swings an open palm across the table in front of you. So, you probably have most reason to buy something than my neighbors. And I'm here to sell, so that's good. Swords, knives, clubs, I sell it out. I make most of these, but if I can't, I've got friends who can. If you need incense or cells for meditation, I make and sell those too. And if your joints ache, I can give you acupuncture. Shen places both palms on the table, leaning over it towards you with a wicked grin. So, what I can show you. You're a monk and a weapons dealer? Shen slowly raises an eyebrow, arms folded. Yeah, where else would the ancient masters have gotten their legendary swords and spears? Down at the mall? I was at Wudang Mountain for 15 years before coming back to Hong Kong. I've been practicing Xing Ying Kuan my entire life. That's how I learned the herbs as well as the forms. It just so happens I'm good in Forge too. That's why what you boy here is better than most other people's. What's Xing Yi Kuan? Shin strikes a sudden pose, body low, one fist against the hip while the other is extended in an open palm. The 5-element fist style. Water grows wood, which burns to become fire. Fire creates ash and earth, which condenses into metal, etc. The form cycle of 5 elements and opposing elements block each other. A water first will break a wooden defense, but a water block will extinguish fire. Should one use a water interception on a metal fist, however, water will be smashed apart. Direct, simple, powerful. Not so elegant as Baji Kuan or Tai Chi, but much more powerful. Shen pulls a tarp away from a nearby lamp. The object beneath the tarp is revealed as the door to an RS City Master armored personal carrier. It's been caved inward by a massive amount of force, and in the dead center of the door is an indentation into which Shen's fist would fit perfectly. Power comes from focus, and focus comes from practice and meditation. Xing Kuan produces more power than most other forms of Kung Fu, and applies it in a highly focused way. So why become a weapon dealer out here? I was a runaway, a street orphan in Aberdeen. One day, an old man who called himself Wall offered to take me in, let me make something of myself as long as I worked hard. Nothing in this life is free, friend. Not even grandfather's was help, so I work for him now. Sounds like he was part of a triad. Shen's eyes roll at this. Obviously, you think I am in Kindly's little haven for no reason? She and Grandfather Wo are on good terms. I don't get in her way, I pay a cut to her, and everybody's happy, even Wo, because I'll solve problems for him. Shen raises a bullet fist, which suddenly bursts into blue flame. After a moment, it gutters and goes out. Remember that if anyone ever gives you something for free in Heoi, you pay it back with money or blood, but you pay it back regardless. Why are your weapons special? Because I take greater care with them and I studied the ancient text. Anyone can make an excellent carbide steel blade, but I can make that carbide blade burst into flames. I can make it sing with joy in combat. Anyone can make steel, not anyone can awake its soul. Can I see one of the blades you awoken? Shen waves a hand to dismiss Lively. No, of course not. Swords like that have to be custom ordered. Only when someone cancels an order do I have one just laying around, and believe me, they get snatched up quick. I get the picture. Let's talk about something else. Okay, what do you want to know? You sell the snakes and spiders too? Shen shakes a finger at you, eyes narrowed. No, they're mine. I can sell you the things I craft with my hands, or the things I can do, but the medicines and poisons I make are my secret. You want those, you apprentice to me. In 5 years, maybe, I show you how to make a poultice, eh? They're that secret? Of course they're secret. These are what set me apart from the rest of the street dealers in Heoi. You want creme or bliss? Any 2-bit tried punk can make that for you, but I can realign your key. Set your yin and yang in balance, or set somebody else out of balance with a few drops. To master my skills, you need to learn for years. It's not just following a formula. You want to learn, you need patience. You try to learn without patience, all you do ape the masters. Chen snaps 2 fingers and points it at the cages. You have to understand them to truly learn any art. Otherwise, you never become a master. Might as well get a skill soft. Let me take a look at your wares. No need from him at the moment, so let's get away. That's all for now. Maximum law. Overhead, a gigantic hollow sign shines like a searchlight, screaming its message through the dim light. It hums and flickers, sputtering like an oil engine. Fierce electrical crackles sporadically burst out of the sign's emitter, stabbing your eyes and filling your ears with static. Under the baleful glare of the sign, the rusty mini-barge deck is stacked with electronics. Dilapidated stereos share space with crispy boxes, servers, ranks of disks and memory chips fill display cases, padlocked under plexiglass. A short human in his late 20s stands in the air, middle hands on his hips, talking loudly into the air. Bulky virtual reality goggles cover his eyes. A data jack cable runs from this temple down his stained t-shirt to a belt load of a clearly home-built computer hardware. No, I'm telling you. His voice is shrill, clipped. Nobody uses KM3s. Like, nobody. They're shit. I don't care what Deng says. If Shiaway's SRP uses KM3s, they're stupid. Hey, flash is rolling up. I gotta go. He turns to face you, goggles blank and enigmatic, blinking with tiny lights and wrapped in duct tape. He points at your PDA. I ripped that PDA. You work for kindly. His lips work impatiently. Yo, what do you want? You provided this PDA? Tell me about it. It was Fuji Azura Star 3. They used a scrap chip, which is good, but the motherboard is wet noodles and sprouts. I pulled out the trackers and installed encryption. Now it runs on the Wampoa virtual network. The corps and cops can't crack it. Can't track it. Well, thanks for the PDA. He shrugs dismissively. It's what we do. This is Lost Technology Palace, satellite territory of Wampoa. You step on the boat, you're in a sovereign state. I represent Wampoa here. I'm Maximum Law. He draws himself up proudly, setting his hands on his hips. The maximum law, yo. You got a tech problem? Boom, I solved it. You need software? Boom, done. But don't waste my time. So, you got any business in Wampo right now? If not, keep moving. Simpsons chip. Found this while poking around in the walled city. Worth anything? He scans the chip's casing with a handheld optical reader. Yo, that shit is bent. Lift it off some yellow lotus. They traffic this stuff. The limited SIM chips. Fully sensory experience. You looking for a bear? I can make it happen. How's 120 nuyon sound? Ah, I think I keep it. What? Don't tease me like that, Raw. Why are you wearing VR goggles? It's not VR, it's augmented reality. We're pioneering it. Little cameras, matrix overlay. I can support a three-dimensional HUD and sub-windows with live multiple feeds. I've got a command shell open right now. I'm networked with 5 guys. Law taps his goggles. Wave of the future. Augmented reality? I hear a lot of corps are experimenting with it, but not in such a socially invasive way. Yeah, Shiaways, Fuchi, Renraku, a couple others. Law waves his hand dismissively. Some of us took a look at what they're doing. Their whole approach is flawed. They won't get anywhere. You guys looked at everything multiple megacorps are doing? Yep, corps can't think like us. They're paper tigers. Inside all the money and organization, their systems are run by idiots. Their coders lack perspective. No, complexity of thinking. The system prevents it. Law says it with supreme confidence, a statement of perfect fact. Boom. That is an amazingly ostentatious holocene you got. Yo, Maximum Law looks up at the gigantic blue, white letters with deep satisfactions. It's pretty, boss. That must cost you a small fortune in electricity. Whatever, I'm not paying for it. Alpha Heoi gets its juice from a pirate tap on a big Mitsuhama DC cable under the river. Mitsuhama's like... His voice winds up into a mocking whine. Oh, let's run 2 million volts from the cold fusion plant to the island under the river. Those slum monkeys can't tap an underwater cable. Idiots. You know who built the tap that pulls electricity over the cable? Wampo. You know whose barge holds the transformers? Mine. Maximum Law thrusts his fist high in the air in silent victory. Cheap power for all, and a whole lot extra for me. Behold, the lighthouse of Boom. Looks like you got some dangerously exposed wires over there. Yo, what are you? My mother? Law regards you with skeptical disgust. Those wires are fine where they are. High and dry. They only a problem for someone who does something stupid. I'm running a high bandwidth operation. Do I look like I have time to tape copper and sip tea? No, I don't. Law rubs his knuckles fiercely on a clear-topped case of full buses, cables and cable harnesses. These are the only wires you need to think about. I'm here for tech. Show me what you've got. Let's buy it. I still don't need this one for now. Oh, this is consumables. Let's buy this one. Suppression. Let's buy this for now. It's a lot of money. Well, let's leave at that for now. Okay, that should do it for now. What kind of outfit I have anyway? +1. It's too much money. Boom! Another problem solved by Lost Technology Palace. See you later, Law. Yeah, whatever. Okay, one more shop visited. And let's see if anything, if the dog finally can let us in. The intercom buzzes to life. You again? I thought I told you to fuck off. Kindly will vouch for me. Yeah? You just idle your engine there for a minute and I'll check on that. There's a long silence on the intercom. The door gives several heavy metallic clicks. There's a dull lumber, like heavy bolts sliding back. A green light flashes on the terminal. The door appears to be unlocked. You can enter the clinic. Chrome LA. Ten-armed Ambrose. This clinic looks like they just hosted a party. Spindly mechanical arms swing from unobtrusive wall mouth, pulling down crepe paper, ribbons, and scooping food platters and empty beer bottles into biohazard bags. A severely crippled Caucasian man sits in a wheelchair amidst the maelstrom of mess and robotics. He is in his 40s. Thick beard, tungsten earrings, beer belly, one cyber eye. Both his legs are missing, one at the hip, the other at the knee. He has only one arm and only 3 fingers remain on his surviving hand. His face and arms show the scars of reconstructive surgery. He grins widely at you, regarding you with bloodshot eyes. He's clearly hungover. Hey, I'm Ambrose, he shouts cheerfully in English, his words piling together in a loose Midwestern accent. They call me Ten Arms. Welcome to the Kong, fellow UCASian. He chuckles, his chest shaking with mirth. Waldo arm springs to life and swings over to him. Its menacing metal pincers momentarily sets a cigarette between his lips, just long enough for him to inhale from it. Kindly says you're all right. What I can do for you? You're a doctor? Sure I am. I'm a rigger. A rigger doctor. A doctor. Ambrose bursts into laughter, then stops and clutches his head. Oh man, I cannot laugh hard today. Too much partying last night. It hurts. I'm not board certified, but don't worry, I should be. I'm full on skilled. My work's Yellow Lotus guaranteed and precisely in accordance with World Medical Association standards. Everybody in Heoi comes to me, 'cause I'm the only option. Ambrose chuckles delightedly. Wait, how did a rigger end up operating a clinic? How do you think? My meat's not much to look at, but I'm called Ten Arms because I can run 10 amateurs at once. 10 armatures at once. Ambrose giggles, jiggling in his wheelchair. My question is, why don't more surgeons do it this way? Maybe because they don't want a first career as a rigger on top of 6 years of residency? Yeah, the career path is kinda underdeveloped. Ambrose pats himself proudly on the chest with a robotic arm that swings over from a wall unit. Makes me one of a kind, except for all the rigger surgeons that are out there. Which is actually a lot. They're just not as good as the rigging. They're just not as good at rigging as me. What do you do here? What do I do? Tune-ups and engine rebuilds on your ass. I do it all. First aid, second aid, surgery, cybernetics, obstetrics, euthanasia. I'm your one-stop shop for health and beauty. Well, maybe not beauty. Can you install me with combat wear? You know it. You got the coin and the essence. I'll trick you out like a bulldozer with ground effects and a turret. I've got it all. Bionic limbs, wired reflexes, decker wear, blood filters, synthetic muscle, bone lacing, greased bearing, ground effects, tight bolts. The full range of Chrome LA service is something that we like to keep beneath the HKPF's radar. Ambrose winks. What sort of mechanical services do you offer? Oh, nothing you'll be interested in. Right now, I'm mostly doing engine mechanics and electrician stuff. I send maximum low and reliable match you any work they can handle. It's really just a hobby and service to the community. I make my nut with the clinic. He looks fondly over at the massive, partially assembled V8 engine occupying part of the operating theater. That baby's gonna be a goddess when I'm done with her. I don't modify myself. Any reason I'd come around here if not for medical gear? Shoot. This is a friendly little neighborhood. I love it when people come by and bullshit. Hell, I host birthdays. Ambrose Spider Drone swings a bottle of coffee liqueur over to his nose. He sniffs it gingerly. Nope, that's no good anymore. Full of spit and, say, cigarette ash. Your front door could stop a bulldozer. Why so fortified? Are you kidding? Have you any idea how much all the stuff in here is worth? This is a high capital operation, and life's dangerous for a guy missing most of his members, tuning up smugglers and criminals. Let me tell you what, though. Someone burst in here, they're gonna be in a world of hurt. Ambrose chuckled heavily. There's a lot more than pipes and wires up in the false ceiling, and I would kindle Screw and the Club 88 boys on the panic button. They know which side their bread is crumbed on. What you think of trying to knock me over? He looks uproariously, but it's not clear if he's kidding. Show me your services. Sure thing, tune-up or spare parts. I'll take that V8 engine and a box of chocolates. Ambrose burst into laughter. I like you. You got good taste, but that engine is family. Seriously, what do you want? Medical supplies. No need for them at the moment. Come back to the garage soon. Show me your services. Sure thing, tune-up or spare parts. Cyberware. So I have data jack, RS hand razors, eyes. This one could be interesting. This might be interesting. Renraku skill wires. At some point. Okay, maybe when we get a little bit more money. Come back to the garage soon. Goodbye, Ambrose. Time for me to go. Cheers, Memo. Talk to you later. This impressive home-built computer is running multiple large memory units and processors. Chilled air from its active cooling system washes across you to the wall fans. A thin fiber optic cable runs across the floor to Ambrose in its chair. On the wall behind the computer are miscellaneous decoration, notes and photos. Two items stands out, a large dry ice calendar and a corkboard plastered with printouts. Examine the corkboard printouts. News clippings and BBS posts have been printed, carefully snipped, and pinned in place. Most are less than a year old. They are intermixed with grainy photographs of what looks like a devastated city, Chicago. The news articles described an outbreak of a virulent version of the Vitas plague in the city and the subsequent quarantine of a zone containing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. The newest items are plain text bulletin board posting printed out. The very fact that they're from so crude a site is strange. Very few metric sites are so plain. Etiquette academic. Search your mind for an analogous event. It takes a moment, then a similar set of described conditions comes to mind. The 900 Days by Harrison Salisbury, detailed Russian account of the 20th century Nazi siege of Leningrad, Russia. Search your mind for an analogous event. Okay, it's the same. Examining the postings. Files smuggled out from within the containment zone did describe a cover-up, the detonation of a small nuclear weapon, and the catastrophic release of insect spirits into the city. The current conditions as reported by drones and escapes are horrific. Try to parse the source of the strange printouts. The postings are from a simple bulletin board system, such as would usually be used only when bandwidth is at a premium or data has to be sent long distances, like thousands of kilometers. You can pick out some recurring statement that seems to refer to the venue. The BBS, Shadowrun. The primary moderator looks like someone named Captain Chaos. These postings are probably from the North American dark matrix site that operates out of the Denver data haven, the so-called Shadowland. The Shadowland is supposedly the global mothership of matrix havens for runners. Return your attention to the wall as a whole. You return your attention to the wall, canvassed with a baffling array of photos and mementos. Look at the calendar. The dry erase calendar is cluttered with a relentless storm of commitments written in cramped, sloppy hands. Most appear to be medical appointments with patients, followed by a busy list of social engagements. Closer scrutiny reveals others: a basic mechanics class on Wednesday nights, basic computer coding Sunday afternoons. Before both of these, inked in red marker, is prepare lesson plan, you stupid idiot. Holidays, big combat auto races, birthdays, every Sunday until 4 p.m. is simply labeled engine. Only 5 hours a night are allocated to sleep, but large swathes of time are conspicuously labeled hangover. Look away. Examine the lobby. This electro-furnace room has been built out as a medical clinic and a machine shop. The air is alive with rumble of the furnaces and the hum of cooling fans. It is sweltering. The front area is more like a homey coffee house than a clinic lobby. Comfortable old furniture, used digipeds, coloring books. The wall opposite of the boiler The wall opposite the boiler is cluttered with a mixture of photos and prints, local artist work, images of military vehicles, off-road racing, Rube Goldberg machines, personal photos, old-time Chicago gangsters, the Desert Wars Motorized Combat Division. Glance around the clinic space. The work area looks more like a machine shop than a medical theater. A robotized operation table and a hydraulic lift supporting a partly disassembled V8 engine occupy place of equal importance against the north and south walls. Prosthetic limbs are racked overhead like machine parts. A heavy lift hoist is clamped to an I-beam. An impressive home-built computer sits against the far wall. Several bulkier towers sit under the desk, ferns whirring. It looks more like a sysadmin Decker's service station than a doctor's terminal. The floor are scuffed concrete, stained with grease and old blood. Faint odors of ammonia, gasoline, and antiseptic mingle in the air. A large sign on the back wall reads, "Sanitary space, no spitting." Inspect the personal photos. The pictures are mostly of Heoi residents, holidays and parties. 10-armed Ambrose is in many of them. The vast scope of photos suggests that Ambrose must be acquainted with almost everyone in Heoi. Look away. Let's talk to him one more time. Ambrose is still cleaning up, cheerfully whistling along to muted doom metal music. "Hey Memo, what can I do for you?" "Goodbye Ambrose, time for me to go." "Cheers Memo, talk to you later." Okay, so no talk unlocked from these two places. Let's check the MTR if anything have been unlocked after the dialogue with Chang. The MTR doors open as you approach. Stay here. And Club 88 is the last place to go. Like most troll bouncers, this man is not with muscles, but absents are the myriad scars that come with age of indiscretion. His only blemishes are the bony skin growth common to his kind, and a single deep scar across his neck and collarbone. You watch yourself in here, or else we check your aerodynamics. Aerodynamics. Anyone causes trouble. I see how far I can throw them. No fighting, no killing, no sex trade. He lifts an arm, flexing. His muscles jumps out like a mass of serpents and steel cabling. His arm is easily as thick as most humans' waists. I don't mess around. I'm just watching the door. Okay, let's go inside. Henrik Heoi. There is only one way to describe the troll haunting the back of Club 88. Weathered. It is as if the man had been carved from granite and then battered by the crash of waves and salty winds over the course of decades. Welcome to Club 88. No killing, no fighting, no sex trade. And no fun, I take it. Depends on the sort of fun you're looking for, I guess. If you're looking for guns, speak to my wife. If you're looking for pharmas, speak to my son Callum. And if you're looking for trouble, you'll be seeing my son Frederick briefly. And what about... and what would I speak to you about? Nothing. I just steer the ship. What ship? There's always a ship. I'll leave you be. Better groomed than most of his kind, the young troll nonetheless runs the effort with his own blatant drunkenness. His eyes are red and his expression foggy, but he otherwise appears to be high-functioning. Have a drink, friend? Have two. Then maybe something else to chase it, eh? I think you may have drunk it all. And why shouldn't I? It is my right. I'm a prince of Club 88 chosen, you might say. You part of the family that owns this place? You are a shrewd one, friend. I'm the heir apparent, and my birthright to peddle chems to every sniffer that passes through the gates. What do you say? Need something to pick you up or bring you down? Oh, let's see what you have. No need for now. Is there anything else you needed? I suppose not. Security door. Pretty hefty armaments. The older troll woman has a striking Amazonian quality. When she was younger, she must have really turned heads. Can I help you? I'm usually beyond helping, but what can you offer? Guns, or a swift kick out the door if you mess with me or mine. This is my family's place, me, my husband and our two boys. No, do you have business with me? I have no time for window shoppers. What have you got for sale? Firearms from all over the world, from Ares to Walter and everything in between. You in the market? Let's take a look. Small typo, it's Samopal. Outfits, consumables, grenades, good to know where to buy them next time. But for now, it's useless. Come back anytime. Anything else you need? What can you tell me about Heoi? There's only one thing you need to know. The corporations do not rule Heoi. We're under Kindly Cheng's umbrella, and her yellow lotus soldiers protect the docks and maintain the peace. But we're not triad members, and they don't own us. Heoi is a crossroads, where goods change hands and deals are made. Kindly makes the market, but we, the families, make it happen. Ermine speaks with the pride of a woman who bows politely to great powers, but never prostrates herself before them. Families rebuild this place when it was left to rot. Strong families like mine, and we protect our own. Outsiders and corps know that tangling with the Heoi is more trouble than we are worth. The triads know it is better to work with us than against us. And now you know these things as well. You would do well to remember them. No, or are you looking to buy? Maybe another time. Very well, was there something else? No, goodbye. Did you need something from me? No, sorry to bother you. Okay, that should be it, so let's go back to the ship again. Okay, the Russian is finally open. Whose cabin appears to be the only clean spot on the bolt hole. His equipment is neatly laid out on his bedding, grouped by type, arranged just so. He is currently in the process of cleaning his weapon with meticulous care. Well, that's that, I guess. We're runners now. I forgot to ask about benefits. Think we get medical and dental care? He stops for a moment, stares at the weapon in his hand. Damn, I don't think we took the brochure. We'll have to ask for it next time we have an audience with our Chinese syndicate crime lord. He looks down the barrel of his gun, blows into it. You look like you want to talk about something. What's the topic? I want to talk about Raymond. Okay, shoot. What do you think is going on with him? I don't know, FH. He was clearly obsessed with the walled city and whatever prosperity is. He sounds like Sleepwalker trying to stumble his way through a dream or something. A Sleepwalker who hires Shadowrunners. From Triad bosses. Raymond was smart as hell. I'm sure he had a reason for using Kindly Cheng as a fixer. Why do you think he came to Hong Kong? Well, he's from here, right? It sounds like he had unfinished business that he needed to take care of before. You think he's dying? Maybe. Just something to think about. Did he say anything about me after I left? You know, Raymond, FH. He told us what he wanted to teach us, told us what he wanted us to know. Everything else was met with a wall of good-natured silence. He used to say, "You are the master of the unspoken word, Mr. Wu. Once it is out of your mouth, it is out of your control." So no, after you left, he never said a word about you. Not a word. Let's talk about something else. Sure, ask away. Let's talk about being Shadowrunners. What's there to say? I worked my eyes off to pull myself out of the gutter and make something of my life. I did what it took to earn my bronze, and now I'm a mercenary hiding in the shadows of a foreign country, doing dirty jobs that the corps needs to keep off the books. It's the reverse of everything I ever wanted. You seem to be taking to it pretty damn well, so let me ask you something. You said you thought that Raymond was alive too. That we'd run in the shadows until we could figure out what happened to him. Was that true? Yes, for me, this is all about finding out what really happened to Raymond. Not clearly satisfied. Good. That we're on the same page. I feel better knowing that. What's your opinion on Kylie Cheng? I'd say she's good as right where she wants us, right? Under her thumb. What do you want to talk about specifically? What do you think she wants from us? As long as her network keeps delivering information about Rainmount, I don't care. At least for now. We need to stay with her. We have no other connections in Hong Kong. Without her, we are dead in the water. You think we can trust her? A triad boss and underground fixer? No, I don't think we can trust her. But as long as we all share the same goals, we should be okay. I wish that I had your confidence. Look, it's simple. She provides jobs, we do jobs. She gets info about Raymond and that plastic-faced man, and we figure out what the hell is going on. We figure out what's going on, she doesn't end up in the trunk of a car at the bottom of the river. Everybody wins. What about this plastic-faced man? Creepy dudes are nothing new to me, even well-dressed. Creepy corporate dudes between the gangers we grew up with and the shit that I run into as a cop. I've seen all kinds. I just want to know who is he and who he works for. We should keep an eye on Strangled Bow. We should keep an eye on everybody, and that guy is definitely no exception. I've seen plenty of cult killers in the Barrens and plenty more since I joined Lone Star. This guy is the real deal. I'm not sure if he knows what the word remorse even means. You should steer clear of him. I'll be careful. Uh-huh. I can see that. Let's talk about something else. Sure, if you want. Let's talk about Gobet and Isabel. They seem competent considering how young they are, but then again, they sound like they've been taking care of themselves since they were pretty young. The three of us work together well in the walled city. Based on that, I'd bet the four of us would make a solid crew. Do you trust them? As far as I trust any runner, yeah, it's like Raymond used to say, trust and verify. They haven't given me a reason not to trust them, so until they do, I'll believe what they say and keep my eyes open. I can't get the dream that I had out of my head. You said you had one too, right? Yeah, yours sounded like a nasty one. I don't remember much about mine. I was pretty creeped out by our run into the walled city. Between that and all the drama, I'd be surprised if I didn't have a nightmare. He shrugs. Was the walled city in your dream? Of course, the walled city was in my dream. It was a nightmare, wasn't it? He gives you a lopsided grin. Was it in your dream too? Slums start to look alike after a while, right? They may look similar, but the walled city felt different, FH. Thick, heavy, and overwhelmed by, don't know, wretchedness, I guess? Whatever, and was the walled city in my dream for sure. What do you remember about yours? Just little snatches of things. He puts his hands on his hips and concentrates. The walled city was breathing and it had teeth everywhere. And there was a tunnel that was so bright that I had to shut my eyes. And Raymond was there. He was either kneeling or lying down. I can't remember which, but he was crying. That's what made me wake up, the sound of my father crying. Did it feel any different from other nightmares you had? He takes his time, thinks about his answer a bit before he responds. You know something, you know you know how sometimes you'll be mad at a friend in a dream and then wake up still mad at him? Then you treat him like he did something wrong when you see him. It kinda feels like that to me. Like I dreamed I was swimming towards a bright light, and when I woke up, I was out of breath from the effort. Let's talk about something else. Alright, let's talk later. Later's good. I wanna do some cardio, work off some steam. Then it's a rec time for me. You should do the same, FH. A couple hundred push-ups would do you good. Thanks for the offer, but I think I'll go have a drink instead. He shrugs. Your loss. Talk to you later. Hey, FH, I got something I gotta take care of here. Let's talk later. Okay, he didn't talk much about Gobel and Isabel. Shame. Isabel's cabin is an exercise in controlled chaos. Her living space is utterly dominated an enormous jury-rigged computer. Serpentine cables snake from component to component, tying dozens of obsolete terminals and cyberdecks together into a single colossal machine. This is my personal machine. If you're looking for your mission computer, it's downstairs. She doesn't bother looking up. You can see that she's elbow deep in the guts of an obsolete cyberdeck, one of a half dozen that have been wired into her computer with braided cables. Actually, I was hoping to talk to you. Got a second? There is a long pause, then she chirps out a response. We're talking now, aren't we? I guess so, yeah. Can I ask you a few questions? She leans in, scrutinizing the innards of the obsolete deck. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. That's quite a machine you're working on. Care to tell me about it? She is my pet project. I call her the octopus. She waves a hand at the tangle of thick power cables that radiate out from the machine's central core. You might be able to guess why. Impressive work. How well does it perform? She is a monster. She yanks a fried chip from the deck's motherboard and neatly sets it aside, then fumbles in a nearby bin for a replacement. An absolute beast. What is this thing's made of? Whatever I could find. Busted terminals, obsolete cyberdecks, aftermarket memory for maximum loss dumpster. Scavengers would kill for this stuff in the walled city, but out here, people throw it away. She chuckles to herself as she eases a card into an empty expansion slot. Most deckers are early adapters. They buy whatever's newest, shell out a huge amount of yuan in hopes of riding the bleeding edge. Stupid. It's an arms race. Deckers do what they have to do. They do what's easy, throw money at the problem. Amateurs. For a quarter the price of the Wiz new Cyberdeck, I can have 5 of last year's model, and after I finish daisy chaining them together, the machine that I've built will run silkers around your store-bought wonder. Can you teach me how to do that? Got a couple of years to sit here and learn? Browning, she yanks a stick of memory from the old deck. I can give you tips here and there, Mamu, but really learning how to do this takes time, and we don't have time and desperation, and I need to make do with what you've got. What about your portable gear, your cyberdeck software, that kind of thing? Let's get the job done. Might not be top of the line, but I'm comfortable using it in the field. If you should happen to come across any more advanced hardware or software, either on a job or on the discount rack at Los Technopolis, I'm not above taking donations, but barring that, I'm fine with using what I've got. Your call. Can we talk about the ambush at Victoria Harbor? I'd rather not. I lost friends there. Duncan and I didn't come out of attack unscathed either. They shot Carter down, same as your friends. Was she your friend? You didn't seem that close. She returns her attention to the octopus, turning her back on you. I'd like to get to know you better. Tell me something about yourself. Something? She pauses for a moment. Okay, I don't like small talk. Does that count? Oh, come on, you have to give me more than that. No, I don't. Look, it's nothing personal, but I'm not interested in talking about myself. I just don't think that I'm a very interesting person. Any thoughts about that last run? I wasn't there, remember? So for me, it was pretty much like any other night. I spent the evening tooling around on the octopus. Anything else you wanted to know? You don't like talking about things other than your computer very much, do you? There is a long pause before she responds. When she does, she sounds vaguely hurt. I prefer not to. Nothing personal. It's just the way that I am. There's nothing wrong with that. I just want to know who I'm running with, don't you? Yes, you're still a mystery to me. There is a long pause. I don't like mysteries, but I do enjoy solving them. She turns, gives you her full attention. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm gonna ask you a question, something personal. After you've given me an answer, you get to ask me something. I think of it like a game of questions. We take turns until one of us wants to quit. Deal? Deal. You go first. Ask away. She studies your face. Well, start off easy. Tell me what you really think about Duncan. He can be pain in the ass, but he's like a brother to me. Interesting. Her eyes flit to the doorway of Goblet's cabin. The corner of her mouth tilts upward into a slight smile, and a little familiar. Well, you answered my question. I guess that makes it your turn. Where did you learn to deck? The Whampoa. I lived there for a while after escaping the walled city. The people there were difficult. We didn't get along, but it was a great place to learn. And that would make it my turn, she pauses considering. So tell me, what was your connection to Raymond Black? He was like a father to me and Duncan. He got us out of the Barrens. In that case, I'm sorry for your loss. Losing the ones that you love is hard. Your turn. Ask me a question and I'll give you an answer. You grew up in the walled city, right? Tell me about that. She fidgets. I'd rather not talk about it. Ask me something else. Alright, I'll drop it. Give me a second to think up another question. Of course, thank you. How long have you been running the Shadows with GOG? That's a good question. I guess about 4 years now, and that's unstretched by another's, but anyone's reckoning. And that brings us back to my turn. She gestures at the cabin walls around you. You enjoy it, don't you? Living like this, working the shadows. This is survival. I do what I have to. Enjoyment doesn't come into it. She blinks. We may have more in common than I thought. Your turn again. Go ahead, ask me something. How did you and GOG meet? Her brow furrows, and after a moment she screws her eyes shut. We meet as kids in the walled city. My prison was her playground. You okay, Isabel? Of course I'm okay. I'm fine. She shifts her gaze to the octopus. I just have a hard time remembering those days. My childhood is kind of a blur. My turn again. Her head tilts as she studies your face. And I think my last question for you. You're stuck here, marooned. You and Duncan both. He's obviously unhappy with the situation. He keeps going on about the things that he left behind. But what about you? Is there anything that you want to get back to? Nothing worth mentioning. Truth to be told, I'm enjoying the change of scenery. Nothing? There isn't anything about your old life that you'll miss? I don't know whether to envy you or feel sorry for you. She glances down at the clock on her desk, an antique model with psychical hands that looks like it has wrenched out of a submarine. A frown spreads across her face. Shit, it's even later than I thought, and I've still got a long way to go before the octopus is fixed. She begins to turn away, her attention fixed on the stacks of partially disassembled cyberdex arrayed in front of her. Hang on, Isabel, you still owe me another question. She stops in place, fidgets. That's true. Go ahead. I know that you don't want to talk about your childhood, but I need to learn more about the walled city. Her voice goes cold. Why? Because Raymond Black wanted to go in there, and somebody destroyed my life to keep him from doing that. Her cheeks flush just like they did the last time. She averts her eyes. No, I'm sorry, but no. Later maybe, but not now. Alright, Isabel, maybe next time. Blinking, she turns away and buries herself in octopus splayed innards. Please excuse me, I have work to do. Oh, I forgot to ask about the dream. Come back later, Mimu. I'm busy. Ah, shoot. Let's talk to Gubet. Gubet's nest is pretty much what you would expect. Pile of clothes on the ground, an overflowing garbage bin surrounded by stacks of instant noodle packets and towers of tinned oysters. Avant-garde posters have certainly thumbtacked to the walls, overlapping in some places and peeling in others. It feels a lot like an art school dorm room. Gobet reclines in a corner, cradling a bowl of soup in her hands. At her feet, a cast iron pot simmers away on an electric hot plate. The contents are typical Hong Kong comfort food: chicken-style soya broth, elbow macaroni, tinned ham, and a heaping scoop of egg-flavored mycoprotein. As you wind your way through the piles of dirty laundry, Gobet slowly lifts her head from her bowl to acknowledge you. Hey, Acetal. She chews on the words, along with a mouthful of cheap pasta. A corner of her mouth curls up into a half smile. How's tricks? They'd be a lot better if you stop calling me Cetal. Can you come up with something better than that? Of course I can. I can come up with all sorts of things. Can't promise that you like them though. Tell you what, why don't you just tell me what you want me to call you? And it would probably be easier that way for both of us. You go by your street name, right? I want you to call me by mine. She shrugs. Kind of a mouthful, but hey, if that's what you want, then so be it. Memu it is. So, Memu, you wanna tell me what you're doing in my bedroom? I'm assuming you're not here to admire the view. Have you had any nightmares recently? Like bad ones? Her jaw stops working with you. Slowly she nods. Yeah, I have. We all have. Everyone in town. Everyone, huh? Doesn't that strike you as odd? Sure does, but then lots of odd stuff happens in Heoi. She cast a furtive glance over her shoulder. In case you hadn't gotten the memo, we aren't in the best part of town. In all seriousness, the dreams are coming from inside the walled city. I'm pretty sure of that. All of the negative energy pent up in there, all of that pain and anger and poisonous ki. It's leaking out, and while we sleep, it's getting into us. If you're so sure of that, why stand in Kowloon? Why not pick up and leave? Oh, I was planning on it, but no, with the APB in place, anti-chink is the only thing standing between us and a bullet in the head. Believe me, I'd leave if I could, but I'm a lot more frightened of the HKPF than I am of a few bad dreams. At least the dreams can't hurt us, right? Who says that they can't? She tries on a smile, fails, does her best to laugh it off. Don't worry, Mamo, we're fine here, but let's talk about something else, huh? I don't like thinking about the walled city very much. Too many old fears and bad feelings. Any thoughts about that last run? Oh, don't remind me. That place is every bit as full and screwed up as I remember. Gobbet shudders, wrapping her arms tightly across her body. If you ever want to drag me back there, you'd better have a damn good reason for it. I have to say, I'm impressed with how you handled the run. None of the Yellow Lotus soldiers died, and Kindly's not the kind of person to forget little details like that. Getting on her bedside is a great way to get a fast ride into an early grave. So, it's good you stepped lightly on this one. So, what else did you want to chat about? How did you decide on the name Gobbet anyway? I didn't. She pops a noodle into her mouth and chews. My mom did. So, Gobbet is your given name? Your mother named you after a vat of meat? She shrugs. Yeah, sure. I don't think she knew what it meant. She just thought that it sounded pretty. You should get used to that, by the way. People here in Hong Kong like to stand out, and choosing unique names is one of the way they do it. If you're up to talking about it, I wanted to go over the ambush back on the docks with you. Yeah, she nods slowly, frowning. Yeah, I figured you would. That was hell of a thing, right? I'd go a little further than that, and was a clusterfuck of epic proportions. She nods. Yeah, that it was. Nigel and Gutshot were two of the strongest men I've ever known. Quality Shadowrunners, both of them. I've watched those two fight through situations that kill anyone and come out on top. And how do they go out? She mimes holding a rifle, makes a show of peering down the scope. Bang, bang, that. No blaze of glory, no final speech, just extinguished, smashed like bugs. We would have gone the same way if you hadn't gotten us out of there. She absent-mindedly raises her bow to her shoulder, a rat curls over her slope of her back and lowers its head to lap at the broth. It was more rat than me. She's the one who grabbed me by the gut and led us to that sewer entrance. All that I did was follow. I'd like to learn more about Rat. What kind of totem is she? She slurps thoughtfully at her soap. A clever one. She's gotten me out of more trouble than I care to mention. Gotten me into a fair amount of it too. But I can always count on her to lead me out of hot water when I need her to. I can feel it in my belly, you know, sort of a tugging sensation. I've got since learned to follow it. I wasn't aware that the totems took such direct control of their shamans. Usually they don't. Me and Red, we have a sort of special bond. She takes care of me, and I've always done my best to take care of her. Another pair of beady eyes blinks up at you from Gobbet's hip. A second rag scurries up her shoulder to join the first, and to pamper her earthly children like these two. Meet madness and folly. Interesting choice of names. I like the way they sound, madness and folly. It has a nice ring to it, right? She brushes her fingers across the wide red's mottled coat. My girls reminds me not to make myself too seriously. I wouldn't trust folly. No, she bites. How did you come across madness and folly? She raises an eyebrow. I looked outside. I mean, the rats. Hong Kong isn't experiencing a rodent shortage or anything. So you just pick them up off the street? Yep. I think of them as rescue vermin. You could probably do the same if you wanted to. It's easy. Just walk into the alleyway in Kowloon after sundown and stick your hand in the first dumpster or storm drain that you come across. Keep fishing around until you touch 4. That sounds like a really bad idea. Yeah, in retrospect, it might have been. She continues to brush Foley's coat. The creature chips happily at her touch. Odds are about 50-50 that you get your hand chewed off. I'd probably feel bad about that. Do you always let your rats drink out of your own bowl? She shrugs. Sure, why not? We're all a part of the same nest. Is that hygienic? Probably not, but I've never gotten sick, so... She raises an eyebrow, scoops a noodle out of the bowl and pops it into her mouth with a satisfied smile. You seem pretty comfortable with all of this. Been running the shadows for a while? She dips her chin. A long time. Started when I was just a kid. Yeah, I got reviews in a lot of action then. She rolls her shoulders. Plenty. Been in more firefights than I can count. You're pretty new at this. You and Duncan both. It shows. She takes a moment to study you. Slowly her mouth tilts into a smirk. What you need is a wizened mentor, an experienced runner from whose experience you can benefit. I'm thinking that might as well be me. Sure, why not? I could use the advice, and I don't see Isabel volunteering for the job anytime soon. You're in? Good. Starting the next time you visit, I'm gonna teach you all about being Shadowrunner. She stifles a yawn. You're gonna benefit from my bountiful experience. Wait and see. I'll be looking forward to it. Gobet stifles a yawn. Her rat scurry from her shoulder down to her hips. She taps the simmering pot on the floor with her boot. The soup inside has reduced down into a thick, viscous gravy. Viscous gravy. You know, Mamu, this has been a nice chat and all, but it's getting late and I still have the rest of a hot pot to power through. So, without wanting this to get awkward, she glances toward the door. Say no more. I'll get out of your hair. Take it easy, Gilbert. Yeah, you too. And now finally, time to visit the Russian. Nothing here, so let's talk to him. Rector. It's oppressively hot down here, and the air is full of synthetic odors that grab you by the sinuses and refuses to let go. You can smell engine grease and melting plastic, ionized air and lead solder. A quick scan of the room tells you why. The downstairs tenant has covered his space into a machine shop. Metal fabrication stool and Duraplast extruders line the walls, and a pair of heavy industrial manipulators hang from the ceiling. A man in black trench coat stands with his back to you, staring at a monitor mounted above a sturdy workbench. He addresses you without turning. Oh, I was wondering when I'd meet the new neighbor. His voice is pleasant, cultured. There's a hint of a Russian accent there, but it's buried under layers of nuance. Please, stay where you are. I'll be with you in just a moment, and unless you fancy an unplanned trip to Chrome Alley, don't touch anything. There are all manner of tools in here that could take your hand clean off. Take your time, I won't touch anything. Ah, you're very kind, thank you. Try to see what's on the screen. The feed on the monitor looks like some sort of design software. You can see what appears to be slim, spidery appendage and orthographic and perspective views. Very good, yes, that's coming along nicely. Very nicely indeed. He turns towards you, smiling, and for the first time you can see his face. He has broadly handsome Slavic features and a chiseled jaw. His eyes are like flecks of ice. So sorry to have kept you waiting, mister. Memo, it's no problem, don't worry about it. You're too kind. Now tell me, what can I do for? His voice trails off as a flash of motion catches his eye. With alarming speed, a sinister-looking drone scuttles out from under the work table. Its movements are surprisingly agile and fluid. Machine rears back menacingly, spreading its forelegs in a clear sign of aggression. The man's smile tilts and his tone goes apologetic. Please don't mind the drone. He can be territorial, but so long as you remain civil, he will not bite. He extends a hand. Simultaneously, the drone relaxes into a neutral position, lowering its killing legs. Rector, my mechanical counterpart here is called Koschei. Shake his hand. A pleasure. His hand is rough and abnormally warm to the touch. He shakes your hand with a solid grip. I'm very pleased to meet you, my friend. In a community such as Heoi, it's important to be on good terms with one's neighbors. Agreed. Speaking of which, I'd like to ask you some questions, if you have the time. He glances at the bracer on his forearm, a technical display wings to life, then gutters out. Very well. This morning's casting should still be cooling for a few minutes yet. That's time enough to talk. When you said this morning's casting, what did you mean? Exactly what I said, casting an alignment of a new locomotive assembly for Koschei. He gestures at the display above the work table. Biomimetic design, as you can see. This one is inspired by the walking legs of a decapod crustacean, the mangrove crab to be specific. That's fascinating. And will this new leg assembly make your drone more effective? That remains to be seen, but there is more to life than combat effectiveness, is there not? By fabricating new components for Koschei, I unlock options, different ways of being, even the failures, and there have been many. How value in this context? How did you learn to do all of this? More training and experience than I care to mention. He offers you a wry smile. Drone architecture was once my profession. You see, now it's more of a calling, one that I'm free to pursue. Now that I'm freed myself from the shackles of corporate servitude. Koshchei is an interesting name for a drone. Yes, I suppose that it is. Not many riggers would name their most prized possession after a villain from a fairy tale. And not to my heritage, I suppose. Yes, I know the story you're talking about. He smiles, widens. Oh, how marvelous. I hadn't thought to meet anyone versed in the Russian classic here in Heoi. I've studied. If memory serves, Koshchei the Deathless was an immortal villain and the kidnapper of women. He nods. Indeed, he was those things, but it was not Koshchei's misdeeds that drew me to the name. I suppose it was the notion of immortality, true cleverness that resonated with me. There was something to be learned from that, I was sure. And so, when it came time to my name my beloved creation, his was the first name that came to my mind. And is your drone deathless like its namesake? In a manner of speaking, I suppose that he is. I have redundant copies of every piece of his architecture, and his core programming is stored on the disk in a secret location. Should he ever suffer critical damage, I can easily bring him back. I had a plan once to automate the self-repair process, I must confess. It was really quite ingenious, but alas, my research was lost. One day I will reclaim it, and Koshchei will become as deathless as the stories claim. But it will not be today. You've got some interesting machinery in here, not that kind that you typically see outside of corporate settings. He smiles. The same could be said of many in Heoi. I'm sure this is a smuggler's den, is it not? Our entire economy is based on people having things that they shouldn't. Is there a particular device that interests you out of curiosity? The robotic arms that you've got over there, they look like something taken from an automotive assembly plant. His smile flashes brilliantly in the light. Good guess. That's precisely what they are. They fell off a boat, you might say. They weren't cheap, but I acquired them and had them mounted to the walls of my shop. I simply had to have them. The return on investment has been dramatic. Yes, they're cruder by far than the Waldo devices that I used in my professional life, but they still do the job, and they are mine. He gazes lovingly at the industrial arms, still smiling. They have increased my fabrication capabilities nearly tenfold, and that to me is worth any price. Are you Russian? I thought I caught a hint of an accent there. He nods. You have a good ear. I'm impressed. Yes, I grew up in Nizhny Novgorod. Went to school there, started my career there, and the industrial sector. A fairly common story, I'm sure. But I have also traveled a great deal, and in so doing, I have absorbed a number of other languages and dialects. If you were born and raised in Russia, what brings you to Hong Kong now? The same things that attracts many to the free enterprise zone. Opportunity. You yourself are a recent transplant, are you not? Your Cantonese is heavily accented in the style of many UCAS expats. That isn't a criticism, mind you, it's just a statement of facts. Yeah, I'm new here, not by choice. Then I'm sorry for you, but not overly sorry. There are a great many places in this world that would be far worse to wind up in. If you have to be married somewhere, you're lucky to be in Hong Kong. Trust me on that, my friend. I have traveled broadly enough to know. You said that you used to work for a corp. Whose payroll were you on? He sighs. That is something of a sore subject. My departure was involuntarily, you see. I did not part ways with my employer under the best terms. I will tell you that I work for Grishin Aviacor, but you'll forgive me if I don't want to go into details. Keeping all of this machinery running can be cheap. How can you afford it? Freelance. That is sounding immodest. I've commodified myself very well. There are always corporations in need of design consultations. You'd be surprised by how lucrative such work can be. And there is always other work that I can turn into a P that I can turn to in a pinch. You said that you did other work besides consulting. Care to tell me what kind? He pauses, and for a second something flashes in his eye. Koschei lowers his body into a crouch. A rather personal question, wouldn't you say? Maybe, but then we're having a personal conversation. Indeed we are, but when in personal conversations, certain topics can be held off limits. Truth to be told, I don't feel especially comfortable discussing my side work with relative strangers. Suffice it to say that my freelance activities often fall on the illicit end of the spectrum. It's okay, I'll drop the subject. Maybe we can come back to it later. Perhaps. He glances at the display on his bracer again. No. Will there be anything else? Look, about your side work, you're a Shadowrun, aren't you? He gives you a shallow nod. I dislike the term, but yes, I run the shadows. What gave me away? Design consultants live in apartments in Victoria Harbour. You're living in a rusted-out boat in Heoi. There's gotta be a reason for that. He shrugs. You are correct, of course. The residents of shadow communities are usually either too poor to live elsewhere or engage in behaviors too illicit to risk it. I will admit to being in the later camp. Designing robotics is my passion, but it doesn't always pay the bills. He runs a hand over Koschei's armored chassis, caressing the sculptured metal with his fingertips. My status as a foreigner has proven something of an impediment in this regard. And so, sorry as I may be to say it, the lion's share of my income flows from Koschei's aptitude for butchery. Such is life, I suppose. We do what we must do, what we love. Seems like everybody on this boat runs the shadows. Why not pool our resources and work together? He purses his lips, considering. A compelling offer. I'm doing quite well on my own, but I must admit that there are certain jobs for which I am unsuited. Magic eludes me, and I'm not a decker. My strength comes from material objects in the real world, solid things with mass and heft, things that I can build and operate. Sadly, a great many clients are only interested in themes that display a mastery over the intangible. This group of yours, do you have people who can cover those bases? If so, then perhaps we can help each other out. Yep, we've also got a former security expert. I guess that's the best way to describe Duncan. In that case, I will accept your offer on a provisional basis. We'll do a few runs together and see how we get on. If our association bears fruit, it will continue. If not, I will bid you my farewell and go back to working alone. How does that sound? Welcome aboard. Very good, excellent. When you receive a job, you know where to find me. My skills and resources are at your disposal. And with that, I'm afraid that I must bid you good day. I still have work to do down here. This leg assembly won't clear itself. I'll be in touch, looking forward to working with you. And I with you. Okay, so we have one more Shadowrunner in the group, and... Accuracy or speed? I think I go for a speed. Okay, and before continuing further, let's check that 7 points in karma for my character. Let's go one more into intellect. I should have not chosen the melee, but unarmed. We'll see about that. Okay, let's use 5 point in intelligence and continue. We'll spend the 2 at some later point. And let's check the mission computer. Anyway, I really love that they named the drone after Koschei. To make it the closest to the Western culture is something like the Lich and from Dungeons and Dragons lore. Some immortal old person who Ni can be killed only by defeating his phylactery. Okay, stop rambling and let's check the mission computer. Objective complete. Activate the mission computer. Your workstation and mission computer. The cool blue tones of the workstation's main menu fill the screen. A blinking message in the upper right corner notifies you that you have 6 unread messages. Read your old messages first. Nothing. Open the... Check your inbox for new messages. You have 6 unread messages. Welcome to Heoi. From Kindly Cheng to Mamu. Welcome to Heoi. Mamu, on behalf of your friends at the Heoi Chamber of Commerce and the Swiftwind's Mahjong Parlor, I welcome you to the community of Heoi and to our new business venture. I have already lined up 3 jobs for you. The details of each are contained in a separate computer message. Remember to check your messages often and I will update you with new opportunities as they occur. On TC. You have 5 unread messages. Your mission computer. From Isabel to Mamu. Subject your mission computer. Hey Mamu, I've set up your mission computer to automatically collect and collate news reports, information and media that might be of interest to you. Some of the keywords I've got trolling for are things like Raymond, Duncan, Walled City, etc. I've also patched in a permanent link to the Hong Kong shard of the Shadowrun BBS. It's a great place to connect with other runners, sell pay data, get news from the street and so on. Don't be shy about taking a look. Isabel. You have 4 unread messages. Resources. From Bao Jianzhong. Mamu. Resources. To Mamu, subject resources. I have been instructed to inform you of the various supplies present in Heoi. Mount Cheng has cultivated a commercial district of well-stocked and trustworthy vendors. Whoever you choose to do business with, you will be in good hands. Ermine Cafe at Club 88 is an excellent resource for acquiring additional weapons, should you require any. If you are in need of magical supplies, go to the Parlor of 5 Phases. If you desire training in the path of the Adept, seek out Spider Shan. She can help you, as well as supply you with any close quarters weapons that you might desire. Chrome Alley can supply you with cybernetic enhancements and medical supplies. The proprietor, 10-armed Ambrose, is a cybersurgeon of some repute. Los Technopolis is a Wampuan supplier of the local decking community. The place is hard to miss. Just look for a sign glowing in the sky. If you need drones, reliable Matthew's Robots Bazaar is your best bet. And I pity you. Best of luck in the shadows. As fresh meat, you are likely to need it. Strangler Bow. You have 3 unread messages. Serial Killer. From Kindly Cheng to Mamu, subject Serial Killer. I've got a problem, Mamu, and you're going to help me solve it. I do a lot of business with the Wampuans. If you're not familiar with the term, I'll forgive you. You are an outsider after all. The Wampuans are a tribe of techno-fetishists and deckers who've taken up residence in the Whampoa Garden area of Hong Kong. They made and trade high-tech goods to people from all over the world. A lot of nuance passes through their pasty little fingers, and I make a lot of money brokering deals between them and the smugglers here in Heoi. I've hit a snag though. The Wampuan elders, their council of leaders, are being eliminated by a serial killer. They asked me to dispatch someone to get to the bottom of it and stop the killing. And they're not taking their goods through my turf until I do. So, you're going to be my proxy, dear. I don't care how you do it, but I need those murders stopped. The Wampoans have delegate here in Heoi by the name of a maximum law. Speak with him if you wish to know more about the Wampoa. He's got a big mouth, but he knows very little of importance. Don't expect much from that half-empty bottle of wine, Gar. You get your ass down to Wampoa Garden and talk to Erdels. Lie, cheat, and steal if you have to. So long as they're convinced that there won't be any more murders. I want my cut back, and I want it soon. Go back. You have 2 unread messages. Artifact Liberation. From Kindly Cheng to Mamu. Subject, forward, Artifact Liberation. Welcome to the Shadows Memo. I received a request from archaeologist named Mr. Drake. He is interested in liberating certain artifacts from beneath a manor house located in Taipo. I attached a copy of the video message that he sent me. The screen flickers a few times and the mail is replaced with a face of a stern-looking orc. Hello, Madam Cheng. I've heard that you're a woman who knows how to get these things done, especially with regard to things that aren't legal in the strictest sense. That's exactly the kind of help I'm looking for. Recently, a rich investor by the name of Liu Hua decided to expand his manor house on the outskirts of Taipo. Too much money, not enough space for fancy parties. He hid a snag with the local government officials. However, they suspected the land his estate was built on may have pre-modern archaeological artifacts buried beneath it, all of them dating from the Song dynasty. Consequently, I was contracted as an archaeologist to oversee the excavations and ensure everything was properly recorded and catalogued. Sure enough, we were only a few days into the excavation when we discovered a series of tombs lying between the sites. The scope of the tombs was far beyond anything Liu or I had expected. Several acres of catacombs at least, and untouched relics throughout. What's more, they are certainly older than the Song dynasty. They may even be from the previous cycle of magic. Before I could make my report to the Free Enterprise Zone authorities, however, Liu called in his allies and Tantian Incorporated. Liu sold the entire site to Tantian, who then leased it back to him. Because Tantian is considered to have extraterritoriality in Hong Kong, local authorities were powerless to stop Liu from looting the tombs. He immediately began building a museum, if you can call it that, atop the site. He had the goal to call his museum the Emperor's Tomb. Can you believe that? The odds of there being an actual emperor buried there are basically nil, but he doesn't care. Anything to sell a few tickets. Liu has continued his excavation using Tantian contractors to expand the dig. What he didn't know is that I bucked his comlink before he fired me. Based on what I've heard, something strange is going on in the lower levels. Workers have been disappearing, only to be found dead several days later. Whatever is down there is too dangerous to be left in Liu's hands. Liu must have found my data line tab though. I stopped receiving any information 3 days ago. The past thing I heard him talking about were a pair of ancient texts that workers had discovered. Then he issued an order that further excavation should be halted until he can secure the subterranean areas. I am betting those texts are the cause of whatever's killing the workers. I have quite a bit of experience with these kinds of dangerous excavations, but an operation of this scale is beyond me. I need a team that's tough enough to get in and survive, aren't afraid of making a mess, and who can get out with the books and whatever else they can carry. Beyond the two texts, I'm willing to pay very well for whatever other artifacts your team can liberate. The more valuable, the better. Don't worry, they'll be going to actual museums, not some rich playboy's mansion. I've got a second program in place that will suppress Liu's security system. The team will have to be careful though. There are only so many alarms I can suppress. Go beyond that number and I'll scrap the mission. I've included a catalog of likely items to help the team appraise the most valuable ones. They don't need to be subtle. In fact, I'd prefer they make it look like a common robbery. Tell them to smash and grab what they can. Let me know when you find a suitable group of Shadowrunners. There you have it. Nice, simple robbery. Do you think you can handle something that basic, dear? I have faith in you. Let me know when you're ready to proceed. I'll contact Mr. Drake when you're on your way. Go back. You have one unread message. Geomantic sabotage. From Kindly Cheng to Mamu. Subject: Geomantic sabotage. Geomancy is big business in the free enterprise zone. Here in Hong Kong, Feng Shui isn't just the act of rearranging your kitchen to make things look pretty. The fortunes of empires rise and fall with the ebb and flow of qi, as sometimes that flow needs a helping hand. Wuxing Incorporated are the preeminent practitioners of large-scale key manipulations here in the free enterprise zone. They've gone to great lengths to channel key from all over Hong Kong into their headquarters, an enormous monstrosity that they call the Wuxing Sky Tower. There, it is focused and transferred into good fortune through the building, geometrically attuned architecture, and interior decoration. Our client believes that it is time for Wuxing good luck to run out. You are to infiltrate the Sky Tower and disrupt the flow of key throughout the building, but you are to do so in two distinct fashions. First, you must disrupt the feng shui of the offices by subtly altering the environment of that level. This will consist of minor adjustments of desks, spilled water, and other small activities that are unlikely to be noticed. Ordinarily, even subtle disturbances of this nature would be noticed. This is why the client wishes you to make a much louder demonstration on the rooftop garden. The garden has to be ransacked, utterly destroyed, set fire to things, uproot trees, that kind of thing. Our client has also specified that he would like to destroy the large Buddhist statue in the garden, smash the thing to bits and leave them scattered across the rooftop. This level of destruction will keep Wuxing's the geomancers busy long enough that the more subtle disruptions below will take effect. In addition, it will send the kind of message to our client would like Wuxing to hear. I have utmost faith in your ability to cause destruction. The more disruption you can cause on both levels of the Sky Tower, the happier the client will be. As you're not a spellcaster yourself, it may be wise to bring Gobet along. She will be able to see the most effective ways to disrupt the key of the building. Go back. You have 0 unread messages. So a blinking message in the upper right corner notifies that you have 0 unread messages. So I bet read all your messages are these 3 missions. Okay. Open the jobs directory. View all pending jobs. Pending jobs, enter query. Back to root. Open jobs directory, view all active jobs. Back to root. Access the Shadowlands BBS. Shadowland connection established successfully. Link strength 100%, spoofing 1, group info null anon. Welcome to Shadowland. Post pay data for sale. Attach data to escrow account. Data will be automatically sold to the highest bidder. Both parties will remain anonymous throughout transaction. Post the exotic animal dealer contacts. Mission item removed. Posting successful. Posting will remain active for 2 days. Search BBS for relevant keywords. Topics matching local keywords. Threat: missed connections. You are rappelling down the side of an unnamed luxury hotel in a ball gown on Monday night. Me, admiring the view from the 28th floor urinals during a private soiree for an unnamed corporation that I was infiltrating. Our eyes met briefly before you dropped out of sight. Your long dark hair had come loose from your chignon, framing your beautiful flushed face. I will never forget it. You were carrying a duffel bag bulging with stolen prototype weaponry. Well, I filched the intel that goes with it. Can we connect? Blackjack. Very funny, Blackjack. I'm sorry, that job went sideways. I got trapped and had only one way out. Red Queen. We were supposed to have each other's backs. Just wait till you hear the way out that I had to take. Blackjack. We got a lay low for now, and why are we posting about this on a public message board? A Red Queen. No more posts in this thread. Terrorists in Hong Kong. Been hearing some buzz about some mainlander terrorists that showed up in Victoria Harbour and had a shootout with the HKPF the other day. Anyone heard anything on that? Dong Jiang. Ming Pao said there were 4 of them that got away. 1 dwarf, 2 orcs, and the dwarf. A troll, an elf, and a human were all killed on the scene. Word is that they're members of the White Star out of Henan, coming here to start trouble against the Executive Council. Dwarf Rat. Looks like there's a 50,000 yuan reward for any information leading to their capture. The HKPF seems pretty nervous about letting these bastards walk freely around the street. Haven't shot. You think that GOG actually paid out to somebody like us? Not a chance. You walk in there to claim the reward, you're getting thrown in a hole with them. The HKPF doesn't keep promises to the sinless. Freedom Cowboy. Couldn't hurt to try. Why do you have to be such a downer? Haven't shot. Because I know the police. They're all dirty. They're only in it to protect their paychecks, and they don't give a damn about anybody else. Believe me, I'm just looking out for your best interests. Freedom Cowboy. Like you and your triad looked out for my brother? You know he's still paying for his reconstructive surgery, you bastard. Dong Jiang. If a man wants to keep his teeth, he should pay what he owes rather than pull a gun on me. Simple as that. Freedom Cowboy. No more posts in this thread. Poetry Slam. Ladies and gentlemen, poets and Shadowrunners, welcome to the first annual Shadowlands Poetry Slam. There are no rules and there are also no prizes, except bragging rights. With no further ado, let the versification begin. Matrix Bard. How long do you think we can keep this going before trolls show up on us? Admin shuts us down? Jive Bard. Why would they shut us down? It's a free board. We can be poetic if we want to. Tennyson. Just trust me, it happens. For some reason, these things always draw the worst sort of attention. Jivebert. Are you going to give us a poem, or are you going to stand around complaining about why you can't? Matrix Bard. Alright, I got one. Wait for it. Jivebert. Synth muscle, smartlinks, neural boosters, cyber limbs all fall to grenades. Jivebert. A little musing on the transience of life and the shadows. Very nice, sir. Matrix Bard. When the long shadows fall on Hong Kong, neon lights piece the coming night. Thread with me the velvet blackness. Let no lamp shine on our deeds. Tennyson. That one's entitled Our Hour. Tennyson. That might just have been the most pompous thing I've ever read. Try this on for size. Lasers are red, shadows are black. With Matt on the street, you'd best watch your back. Know your Matt. My poem wasn't pompous, you uncultivated dupe. It was a homage to Wang Wei, the famous Tang Dynasty master of the Jueju form of poetry. It's traditional, unlike the ridiculous limerick that you posted. Tennyson. No, I don't think you have to take the word slam quite so literally. Matrix Bard. Hey, you people know the rules. Poetry slams have been out of bounds on this BBS since the laughing man debacle of 55. If you want to slink your fancy words, do it on a different forum. I'm shutting this thread down. Cease up. Told you, Jivebert. No more post in this thread. Threat Walled City. I got a courier job next week that's supposed to take me into the Walled City. I'm from Kuala Lumpur, and I've never been to Hong Kong. But I hear that place is dangerous as hell. Is there anything I should know? Hanturaya. Oh, you got nothing to worry about. It's just a low-cost housing development full of hard-working people. Here, take a look at this news report. Freedom Cowboy. Newscaster. A short thread clip begins playing. This is Sunny Chung with Horizon News. On today's sunny side up, the Kowloon Walled City, a blight on the free enterprise zone, or low-cost housing for the economically disadvantaged, will introduce you to some of the hard-working residents, how they live and how they contribute to the growth and prosperity of our city. A montage sequence begins, showcasing the destitute poor of the walled city going about their daily lives. The shots have been carefully chosen, showing only smiling and productive residents, a stark contrast to your own experience inside it. Many residents of Hong Kong regard the walled city as a place of no return to outsiders and the last stop on a long road to homelessness. Rumors about feral girls, unsafe living conditions and tried extortion. Yet, when we met there, the reality was far different. What we saw will shock you. Citizens of Hong Kong working and living just like the rest of us. Their apartments are smaller and their shops more modest, but the people who live here wouldn't be out of place anywhere in the Fes. Citizens like shoemaker Cho Sang Tsui. The scene cuts to an elderly man in a closet-sized stall filled with shoemaking equipment. He smiles broadly at the camera. Oh, I love it here. We have a community, you know? We're like family. Maybe we don't have as nice a view as they do in Repulse Bay, but I can't imagine living anywhere else. It's not paradise, no, but it's my home. I grew up here. How could I possibly leave? The camera shifts back to Sunny Chunk. No, who now stands in front of one of the entrances to the walled city. Contrary to popular opinion, the walled city serves as a vital function. The poor and downtrodden find a home in the walled city, a community where they have a voice, can work and even prosper, far from being the eyesore that the video suddenly stutters, freezes and ends. Okay, I've decided to cut the rest of that crap. She keeps going on about what a good place the walled city is and how we all need it. Don't buy any of it. It may not be hell, but you can see it from there. Freedom Cowboys just trying to get you in trouble, Isabel. So, how do you know the real story, Hanturaya? Because I grew up there. You know what it's really like? It's eating old broth made from red bones because there's nothing else. It's watching your neighbors sell their 5-year-old son to organ ledgers so they don't starve to death, Isabel. When you die in the walled city, your neighbors cheer because they'll get the clothes off your back. I wouldn't wish the walled city on my worst enemy, Isabel. No more post in distress. Go back. Go back. So, which jobs to take? View all pending jobs. Let's go with the serial killer. You read that already. Take the run. From Kindly Cheng to Mamu, serial killer. Good, I'll tell the elders you're coming. They don't like outsiders and they might shoot at you if you don't warn them that you'll be arriving. Let's take them all. Take the run. From Kindly Cheng to Memu. Forward artificial liberation. Excellent. I've attached directions to Liu's estate to this message. Good luck. Don't fuck it up. And geomantic sabotage. From Kindly Cheng to Mamu, geomantic sabotage. Blah blah blah. Take the run. Geomantic sabotage. Good. Contact me when you finish the job, and I'll send you your cut of the payment. Back to route. Walk away. Objective added. Go to the Emperor's Tomb Museum to liberate artifacts. Go to the Whampoa to track down a serial killer and travel to the Sky Tower. Damage Wuxing Incorporation Feng Shui. I'll keep this for a while and then maybe I'll try to sell it. Let's talk to the one guy. here. Maximum law. Maybe he has something new to say. Blows via Google's drip in the rain and blink with what looks like error lights. He sweats profusely and the steamy humidity. Yo, you're back. Oh, I've probably got what you need. Just remember, we were in Whampoa here. Tell me about Whampoa. They're pretty much best. Yo, what do you want to know? Law folds his arm impatiently as if he's irritated by your request, but he can't quite stifle a proud grin. What's a Whampoan doing on Kindly's turf? Are you a liaison? What am I doing here? Law seems shocked at the question. I'm an ambassador. I broker Whampoa services to Heoi emissaries like me and all over the Kong, tying it together in an invisible network. Does Whampoa provide any technical services for Hong Kong's poor? Sure we do. We run pirate networks. Our services are way more than most ordinary people want though. You can get prepaid bandwidth with a corporate carrier for fractions of yuan. But you're selling your soul. They monitor it. If you want to operate unmonitored by corporate algorithms, you got to fly through the Whampoa network. It's the only place to be. So you work with Kindly doing tech for the Yellow Lotus? Well, I do some work directly with Kindly, but my focus is more the street level. We're all part of a big machine, each piece playing its critical role. So, you're just a little cock on the big machine, huh? What? Hey! Law sputters in irritation. I'm an important part of an ascendant entity. If you're ignorant, yo, that's not my problem. Whampoans are coders and deckers for criminals, is that right? We do tech for anyone in the Kong outside the corporate umbrellas. Anyone can use our networks if they pass our vetting and can pay for what we bring. Law speaks without a shred of irony. It's mostly the extra-legal element that needs our skill. Just tell me about the tribe generally. Who are you guys? Law smirks. You really are new to the Kong, aren't you? We're the Neo Matrix Collective. We run the Hong Kong Data Haven and the Kong's Shadow Nets. We are the Kong Shadow Nets. Outside the corporate nets is the rest of the Kong, and in those shadows you will find threads of golden light, like a vast spiderweb that carry information. Those golden threads and that web is Whampoa. Law gives a curt, virile nod. My body, a red storm road that. Pretty wicked, huh? Anyway, we're bleeding edge on the path to the singularity. We're doing things no one else is doing anywhere, except maybe Denver or Tokyo. Our homeland is Matrix, and we're building a society of truth and expertise and information. You seem very outspoken, less modest than many Hong Kongers. Is that tribal? I am more outspoken, yo. I don't need the meat space rituals. Modesty is inefficient. He shrugs dismissively. Is that a Whampoan thing? For those of us who are most dialect, maybe. We're post-cultural. Law speaks his hand around, gesturing at the surroundings. I hardly see any of the meat space. Our meat space headquarters is a big 20th century ship that's totally awesome. Whatever, it's just meat space. Wampua is bleeding edge on the path to becoming the singularity, and in the singularity there is gonna be nothing but straight up truth. Law punches his fists at the ground, striking a majestic pose like a Tridio barbarian. Boom, truth. I understand someone's killing your elders. His face goes grim. A red light blinks on the VR. Goggles lens wears quietly, focusing in on you. He grinds his teeth audibly, radiantly nervousness and intensity. Yeah, shit crazy. Full on medieval. I can talk about it. It's a tribal matter. Controlled information, right? We're gonna solve it. That's all outsiders need to know. Actually, I've been contracted to help the elders stop the murders. Whoa, really? We're pulling an outsiders? He takes his head in disbelief. Well, I should have seen that coming. What the hell are you going here? Go to the garden and I'll stop that shit. Then come back and tell me what's going on. Everybody's guessing. The elders are being quiet and the rumor hub is going crazy. Outsiders don't really understand us. Maybe you can, if you're really smart. We're in a whole different world than most people. Like, I'm seeing 3 streaming videos and live network stats in my goggles right now. Time's wasting memo. Law kicks one of the bins at his feet. The sea of electronic parts within it rattle loudly. You gonna buy something? See you later, Law. Yeah, whatever. So, we've got some new stuff. The first will be the Wampua. Okay. Let's quick save just in case and we can board the train. The MTR doors open as you approach. Head to Wampua Garden to discover who's killing the Wampuan elders. Additional runners available. In addition to your team, your fixers have access to a small network of mercenaries in the Kowloon area. These runners appear below your core team on the runner selection screen and can be hired on a mission-to-mission basis. As you complete missions, both your team members and available mercenaries will periodically gain access to new equipment and abilities. Any new items, spells, weapons, or weapon abilities that a runner gains will automatically be available for use the next time you take them on a mission. So, a Decker. We don't have money for them. So, let's take Raktor. Let's take Duncan and Gobet. You are about to travel to Wampua Garden. Continue. And that was for the 5th part of the Shadowrun Hong Kong Extended Edition blind playthrough by Old Man Memu. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and if you did, feel free to follow me on Twitch and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next time.